Hey, strangers. Welcome to another episode of the Strange Sessions. If you're new here, I'm Krista. With me is Kurt. If you're watching on YouTube, welcome. Thank you for joining us. It's season 8.
It's weird.
I'm
I feel like
nervous.
we haven't. Yeah, like I feel like we haven't done this
Right.
in years.
It's like we're doing this for the first time.
I'm like, how do we do this again?
I don't know. It's been a while.
Yeah, we're sorry our break was so long.
Yeah, we did release a Skype episode,
super.
though.
Yeah, it was a super long break this time, I think.
Hey, right off the bat, if you don't want to sit through the next 20 to 30 to possibly 40 minutes of housekeeping.
We got a funny feeling this one's going to go long.
We're going to have a long housekeeping section.
Yeah.
Hopefully by now I've figured out how to add those chapters down below. I'm going to try to figure that out. If not, I will post the timestamp of the actual topic.
In the video?
So
Chapters in the video?
Yeah.
Oh.
Apparently YouTube can do that automatically. I've yet to see that happen on our videos.
Look at you.
Maybe we're strange. See what I did there?
I saw what you did.
Which housekeeping should we tackle first?
I have nothing for housekeeping written down, so you're the housekeeping queen.
We
this
do have
time.
an email to read. I just remembered it right now. That is really funny.
Oh, shoot.
And we also we're going to end the episode today on a special note, but we'll save that for later. Literally a special note. Oh my gosh. I'm really killing it today. You'll get it later.
There's 4 voicemails on there, but we're going to save those. I think one for a Strange States episode when we tackle that state, and the other ones are kind of like stories we'll save for listener stories.
Okay. We have a listener question. Did you see that?
No.
It's in our email.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to read this email from Eric. His name is Eric. I don't know if he wants me to say his last name, so putting the specs on. Hey, Krista and Kurt. Feel free to use my first name should you read this on air. Thanks, Eric. Wanted to say y'all did a great job this season, and I'm really looking forward to the next. I did have one suggestion, however. Krista mentioned in the end of season episode how y'all are setting up a studio and might put up a wall to block off the weight room. Oh, can you see this? This is part of the wall. Instead of the wall, y'all should just pump iron throughout the entire episode. Think how ripped y'all will be by the end of the next season. 2 regular Hans and Franzes.
Oh, wow.
We'll pump you up, guys. I want to see Kurt kiss his bicep while Krista is in the background giving a Hulkamania flex.
I was just going to say Hulk Hogan.
Ha.
Wow.
Seriously, though, thank y'all for always being positive and down to earth and just a joy to listen to. Hope y'all have a great new year and can't wait for next season. I know it's not much, but he gave us a little donation on Ko-fi.
Oh, thank you.
He said, enjoy your Ko-fi. Buy yourself something you normally wouldn't. Well, it's probably going to go towards new cameras because
Krista's
I'm not
happy.
impressed
Krista's not happy with these
cameras. So thank you. Every little bit counts. So he says, love the show. Take care. Thank you, Eric. That I responded to him. I'm officially dead. We'll definitely be reading this one on the season opener, but we decided to just go with a studio with a wall.
I'd be back there doing the fast jump rope, crossing it and talking in the microphone at the same time.
In like a full gray sweatsuit. Like
I'm thinking like a
sweatsuit.
leotard. I'm thinking a leotard. Yeah.
That would really
Krista's
be a
not
treat
happy with
for
these
our
cameras, so
listeners.
the money
No.
will, give her a little bit of power, and she thinks she's Stanley Kubrick all of a sudden that she has to film everything perfectly.
I don't know about that. Well, that is one thing I wanted to talk about, though, because I'm not happy with these cameras. You get what you pay for. I did a lot of research, and I saw cameras that would be great, but I wasn't ready to put the money out for those yet because I thought, are we going to do the YouTube thing? Are we not? Now that we definitely
I feel like
are.
people like the videos, like seeing us.
I think they do, too.
I don't know if you want to see my mouth moving.
I think it's...
like, I don't know how to deal with the camera, with me being able to see myself on the camera there.
Maybe don't wave at yourself 20 times. I don't know.
I'll just wave at myself every time I see myself over there in the camera. It's weird. I'm not used to this.
Yeah, I wasn't ready to fork out the cash for it, but we have the money from our subscribers. We might as well use it. I keep checking my microphone. It's on. It's on.
Wow,
guys.
you got a little bit of Kurtitis over there.
I do. I'm just not happy with them. But it's difficult because you have to find a camera that. Did you know that a lot of cameras stop recording at 30 minutes? So you have to keep hitting record every I don't want to deal with that. Short battery life. Some cameras overheat. So there's like a lot of research that goes into it. But I do have it narrowed down to some cameras. But just the amount of time I have, like hours I've spent I've looked at all the settings. I've read the manuals. These are just crappy cameras.
I also want a little Vaseline on the lens to make me look better like they did for Sybil Shepherd on Moonlighting.
They put Vaseline on the
They did
camera?
some kind of technique to...
that's really funny.
Like to blur it, I believe.
I feel like the lights take care of a lot of that.
This
Also,
is-
you have a different light than me, and so my video is actually a little brighter than yours, which I don't like. So I need to get another one of these lights.
I'm
'cause I
fine in
think it's
complete darkness in my
superior.
video.
You're yeah.
I'll be like the anonymous. I want to stay anonymous.
Yeah, wear a mask, like sleep token. What else? Were there any other emails? Let me look real quick. So you don't have any housekeeping?
No,
Maybe
I couldn't
it won't take as long.
I couldn't think of really anything we were going to talk about, like the video. Like, I was puzzled at first about how the side sessions is going to work, but I believe we're recording today. This episode will come out next weekend.
Yes.
When we get together the next time to record, that's the weekend that the side sessions will come out.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
So then people that subscribe are going to get both the side sessions and the actual unedited episode a week early. You know what I'm saying? We got to figure this out.
I lost you.
No, because remember
You
you
lost
said
me.
oh no, because they're going to get the unedited episode today.
Yeah, not the video.
No,
I'm not sure if there'll be video.
subscribers won't have to wait a week to get the audio.
Right.
You're going to get it like you used to the day after.
I'm going to try to do it today.
But then the weekends we record, you're going to get the side sessions that we've done.
So, okay, we're recording. Sorry. We should have worked this out.
We should have had a meeting.
Before.
We should have had a meeting.
So, next weekend, this episode is coming out.
Yes.
And the side session?
No, the weekend
you're
after
gonna
the
wait
side
you're gonna
sessions
wait
will
2
come out.
weeks to
We're going to
read.
have to.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. So,
Okay.
it'll be every other weekend.
Okay.
Then.
We'll get this figured out by the
Yeah.
end of the season.
So,
what we're
they'll
doing.
get the Ko-fi subscribers will get the unedited audio the same weekend that
Yes.
that the side sessions come out. Yes. And then the other opposite weekends is when the edited version of this comes out.
Yeah, so subscribers actually get 2 things dropped on that
We
weekend.
don't do things like production meetings, so this is it.
No. Yeah.
I think I'm going to put my hat on.
Production
just
meeting.
'cause We need a little advertising. So,
I would love, like for me to be here talking, and then you'd be in the background pumping weights, and then you'd come over and talk, and I'd be back there
all
doing
out of
kettlebell.
breath, like sweaty. I should have one of those like headbands on and stuff. Oh my gosh, that'd be great. I feel like there's a Napoleon Dynamite joke in there too.
Somewhere.
Somehow.
What other housekeeping do we have?
I thought we had more. We have so many packages.
Just thank you, subscribers, for continually subscribing to us,
Yeah.
even when we're on break.
You know, and we've
Oh.
continued to get subscribers on YouTube as
We
well.
did use
so
a chunk
thank
of money
you.
for the investigation. Our next
We did.
episode will be all about our investigation we did. So that one will be a lot more conversational than this one. This one, I think, is going to be a lot of
reading.
But
that is a change that people probably didn't know was coming, is that I'm actually going to be reading quite a bit from today's episode.
I'm not
too.
reading
I don't normally
everything.
do that.
I'm assigning Krista stuff to read and me stuff to read.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that'll be a hot mess at first, but we'll get used to it.
I mean, have you been here before, guys?
Yeah, if you're
Like,
new to this,
everything's a hot
if you're
mess.
new to this, we don't know what we're doing.
No.
We're just doing.
Particularly this part,
Yeah.
the cameras. We'll figure it out. Honestly, though, I think if I had better cameras, it wouldn't be so hard to figure out.
Yeah, I don't know.
I shouldn't have to mess with the settings so much.
We need like a film crew going, like, circling around the table and filming
like
us.
Joe Rogan.
Like Joe Rogan, yeah.
I don't know if he has that, but he definitely has multiple cameras.
You have any other housekeeping?
Shoot, I thought we did. I don't know.
I'm sure that we probably have like 5 things that we'll remember when we're done recording.
I probably texted you like 5 different things. Like, we have to remember to talk about this on the first episode. I read the email. I feel good that I remembered that. I found the question for the
going
end.
back through Krista's text to me. I'm not impressed with these cameras. All right. I'll check this out later. Oh, Jennifer, one of our dear listeners, suggested, and I actually forgot.
Love this
I
idea.
actually forgot this even existed. That we repurpose our old Strange Sessions fitness page because I forgot
Remember that?
that was like 5 years ago.
Like all New Year's resolutions that lasted like a month or two.
I forgot that even existed. So she suggested we repurpose that page for the Matthew Thornton
I think
letters,
that's such
so
a great
everybody
idea.
can see his letters because we have
He
2
keeps
new
sending
ones.
us letters.
Yeah,
It's
we have
amazing.
2 new ones.
But I can't even begin to decipher
No,
what the heck
but I
those
think
things
people would
are.
want to see them.
Yeah,
so
I
then
think
if you
so, too.
join that group, I think it's a private group, so you ask
It
to join,
is.
but we're not even going to I'm not even going to have them answer questions.
No.
If you want to join it, you can join it. It's
Yeah.
just going to be his letters and pictures, scans of his letters.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a brilliant idea.
I feel like I also should have put this hat on before we started recording because I keep adjusting it.
Yeah, going back through your past texts actually helps a little because I forgot some of this stuff.
Again, if you're new here,
Yeah.
I don't know, just stick around. We're like a fungus. We'll grow on you eventually.
We do.
It might
We're
take
like
a few
athlete's
tries,
foot.
though.
We're like athlete's foot.
Yeah.
All right. I can't
You
think of
might
anything
try
else.
applying a cream, but it doesn't always work. Sometimes it does. It's usually the first 20 minutes that turn people off. So.
Are we going to should we hold off on the packages? We'll start with
I think we
packages next episode.
Should we at least open this envelope
Yeah.
that Jim found in the trash?
Yeah, so one of our listeners sent us a note or a card
don't
or
even know
something
where
that we
this
don't know
came
where
from.
it came from, but when Jim was renovating down here, it was in the garbage.
Well, because we were gathering stuff off of tables and in drawers and thought we were just throwing out garbage, but this fell out yesterday when he was cleaning some stuff up.
So know that when you send us
Sorry.
stuff, it's not like, oh,
We
from a
don't
listener,
try-
throw in the garbage. No,
we're
we've
not
actually
purposely throwing your
because
stuff
when I
out.
walked down here, I saw that and I'm like, where did we get that in the mail? So yeah, it turns
You want to
out.
open that?
Sure.
Jim even rearranged our cabinet of curiosities.
I know it looks so nice.
Dude did everything down here.
Oh,
Oh, there's like a whole letter in there.
oh, it's from Beth. I bet you it was. I wonder if this was.
I bet it came with the ghost hunting
the ghost hunting
equipment.
equipment. All right. I'll take off my glasses to
Jeepers.
read this. Hi, Kurt and Krista. The card is so cute. Oh my God.
Let me see. Oh, that is cute. Very
Peace
cute.
on Earth with a cute cat and dog on it.
Wow, so we've had that for a while.
I know. Well, since Christmas.
Yep.
Hi, Kurt and Krista. First of all, I want to thank you both for the many hours of entertainment you have provided. I have, quote, known Kurt online from doing armchair treasure hunts, but I never tuned into the strange sessions until recently. I listen to them while I'm doing artwork. I feel like I've gotten to know Kurt a lot better, and now I'm getting to know you too, Krista. I was impressed to hear that Pulp Fiction is your favorite movie.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, to repay both of you for many hours of fun, informative entertainment, I wanted to design something that maybe you could use for t-shirts. The
Oh
design
my
is all
God.
yours, and the original art is for Kurt.
That's how
I
long
hope
we've had that.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
It's her picture that I finally got framed, Beth. It's hanging on the wall.
I hope that maybe fellow listeners will be willing to proudly wear the strange sessions. Was that our shirt?
That was
from
our
her?
shirt. It's
Oh my
the
God,
Toy and
Beth!
Me
I'm
tile.
sorry that we didn't open this sooner.
You know what? I bet it was in that triangular box.
Have a
that
great
the
Christmas and
artwork
Happy
came
New
in.
Year. Was that 2
It
years
was
ago?
probably 2 years ago.
Oh my God. We open your stuff in the end. It might be years later, but we do get to
We
it.
run a real
Beth,
tight ship.
thank
around
you
here.
so
Thank
much.
You, Beth.
Thank
oh
you
my
so
God.
much.
Sorry. I was just saying
We suck.
We should get an intern. We've said this for years. Everybody knows this, but I would love to catalog every gift we've gotten and who we got it from.
Yeah.
Every song we've talked about, every taste test we've done, every
We should maybe start
episode.
doing that at the end of every episode after we shut off is write down what we got.
Yeah.
But
We
then
should do that.
But you know how that's going to go.
I'm always so focused on starting
Yeah.
downloading stuff for Ko-fi.
Yep.
Excuses. That's what those are.
So thank you so much, Beth. We
Yeah,
love
thank
the
you,
shirts.
Do you have any new strangers
Oh, I do.
on Facebook?
2 of them. Shout outs to our newest strangers. Those are Heather Demitz and Sam Sedersten. I don't know if Sam is the one that sent us a voicemail.
Oh,
Possibly.
cool.
But our 2 new listeners, Heather and Sam.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you so much for listening, for
Yeah,
joining.
hey, if you're not part of our strangers group on Facebook, I get it. Social media sucks.
And I've been really bad with posting anything in just the Strange Sessions Facebook page.
Yeah,
I do
just,
everything
on the strangers page.
on the Strangers page.
Yeah, so there's a Strange Sessions page and a closed strangers
Yeah.
page. I highly encourage you to join, even if you're not a social media person, because the community there is so amazing.
yeah.
It is
And
the most positive place on
There's
the
3
internet.
questions you have to answer, and even if you just started listening and don't know the answers, just tell us, and we've had it. We're like, should we let this person in? And we're like,
Right.
yeah, totally, because they listen. They
tell.
just don't know
We can tell
that,
that you listen, yeah.
you know. But then when we get the ones where they just say yes to everything,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, no.
Or we realize that there's something similar to our podcast that they're looking for, and we're
we just
not
had
it.
we just had one like that.
Yeah, there was some
Their
kind of
favorite
crazy
episode, and I'm like, that's
true
not
crime
us.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was not
it was
us.
weird.
Anything else or taste tests?
Let's do a taste test.
Do you want me to see what it is first, or do you want to?
I'll open it.
So my cousin's son, which makes him my cousin, we were talking about this before we recorded, Taylor. Taylor is awesome. He wants to come on the show at some point, so Taylor might come on.
Nice.
He likes getting us the nasty flavored sodas.
Thanks.
So he dropped this off at Corey's house. And
okay.
I didn't look at what any of these flavors were, but Asher, my nephew, did. And I saw him pick up 3 of them, look at them, and make a face. And then one of them he looked at and was like, eh. So one of them might
Did we
be...
get the eh?
I don't know. I reached in at random, and I picked it out. This could be nasty. This could be good.
These are kind of surprising. Sometimes they
sometimes
sound
the nasty ones
and they're good.
Yeah. So Taylor, thank you so much. We're going to have you on the show at some point. We're going to talk. We're going to see what he wants to cover. So here we go. I don't even know what any of these are.
I gotta get my camera ready. Ooh.
This one could be good. I think this might be a good one.
These are twist off, right?
I think so.
Okay.
If not, my key. This one I think will be good.
Ooh, prickly pear.
Prickly pear is good.
Okay.
So
I show the YouTube people.
But that scares me that we got the one good one possibly
yeah.
over there.
That means it's all downhill from here.
Yeah. Prickly pear is good. I don't know what I've had with prickly pear in it.
Okay, ready?
But maybe it's not good. We're going to find out.
Ow. All right, give that right back to Kurt. You want to pour some in your mug?
Yeah, it smells good. It smells sweet.
I'm representing our friend Brad's podcast, although he's not actively recording anymore, but Killin' Missin' Hidden. He even made fun of me because I never get the name of it right.
This is a really pretty color. It's like the
it?
prettiest colored soda I think
Is
I've
it
ever
pink?
seen. Yeah, it's like pink purple.
Kurt's using a Strange Sessions mug.
I am.
Oh, it is pretty. I wish you could see that on the camera.
It smells really good, actually. It does. It smells really good.
Oh, it does. Okay. I'm going to take a picture of the color real quick. Okay.
Ready?
Ooh. Oh, that's good.
That is good.
It's a little more tart than I was expecting it to be.
I was not expecting that.
It's not overly sweet.
It's very fizzy.
There's actually something about the smell.
Yeah.
That's just slightly off-putting.
There's something
just
about the
bit.
aftertaste that's a little off-putting to me.
It's good, though. It tastes like a Jolly Rancher.
It does taste like a Jolly Rancher, like a really subdued cherry.
That's not bad.
Jolly Rancher.
I'm going to give that...
I'm going to give it an 8.
I was going to give it an 8, too.
Because I would totally drink this.
I don't like soda. I probably say this every time we drink soda. But this isn't bad. Because I don't like carbonation.
I have never had it before in my life, but I have gotten like unhealthily hooked on Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Oh. I had never had it before, and now they have it at Quick Trip. It's green. It tastes like
green.
lime. It's like lime, and it's so good.
I'm a Mountain Dew person.
I'm trying to get away from soda.
Yeah,
but
not very good for you. But
no. What time are we looking at, girl?
Oh, I haven't even been looking at that.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow. Kurt's silently judging me over there, although not very silently. 26 minutes, and that's with all the...
That's not so bad.
We had 8 minutes of
So next episode, we will start opening our packages.
Yeah, we have a lot of packages.
Next episode, I don't know if it's going to be... Because next episode, spoiler, we're going to have like a half hour of audio of our Estes method sessions on the investigation because I want you guys to hear them.
Yeah. There will be video for the YouTube channel.
But we don't really have a ton to talk about from the investigation.
Mostly
but
about how cold it was.
I was telling Krista, it's actually funny because when I was going through my audio, Krista dropped so many F-bombs in there that I had to edit out. And she was always complaining about how cold it was in the building.
And this is a family show.
Yeah, so a lot of I did not expect you to be the person who I'd have to edit all the swearing out, but
I don't like being cold, and I'm always cold. So put me in a cold environment, and I'm not.
So
happy.
Next episode will be all about that investigation, and you're going to get to hear us doing the Estes method, which I have a lot to say about.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about it, but we'll get. That.
My feelings are totally opposite of what I expected.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
So are we ready to jump into today's...
Wow, we're right on time. We're actually slightly ahead of schedule.
Wow.
I feel like we're forgetting something.
We did the shout outs to Heather and Sam. housekeeping.
We did a taste test.
We did a taste
I
test.
complained about the cameras.
Did we complain about the weather? It's been weirdly warm.
Yeah.
We had a tornado here in Wisconsin.
Two tornadoes.
Two
touched
tornadoes.
Down 2 days ago.
Yep.
First time ever in February in Wisconsin. Now I think we've had a tornado every month in our history.
Which I did not know until I saw my girl talk about it on
Ooh.
TV, Ginger Z.
Jim told me at least 5 times. It's now a joke.
I didn't know it was near here.
Yeah. Well, Madison-ish area.
Oh.
I think.
It
Between
was by,
Madison
it was by
and
Barry.
Like, yeah.
Shout out to Barry.
Barry's area. Hey,
It was
Barry.
so nice seeing
It
Barry.
was so good to see her.
I
Yes. We talk
freaking
about her
love
so
that
much.
girl. Yeah.
Me too. What's not to love?
Are we jumping into...
Let's do it. Do you start?
Yeah.
My notes don't tell me.
I do start.
Oh, yeah, it does. Kurt reads
So-
tunnel definition in history.
Yeah, so we put out our yearly poll about what you guys want for the season opener topic, and the one that won was suggested by my good friend Stephanie, who also sent us the Missing 411 books.
Nice.
She you okay?
I just moved my chair
Oh.
unexpectedly.
Her suggestion was tunnels and underground tunnel network.
Yeah.
And that won.
Very intriguing.
That won. So I was like, oh, because I had no idea what to do. So in typical Kurt fashion, this all kind of changed about a week ago because originally I was doing tunnels and caves.
Okay.
And there's just too much because there's a lot of cave stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
that could be a whole episode.
that's
I'm
going to be
sure.
a whole episode. So
Okay.
I pulled all the cave stuff out and I threw a bunch of other stuff in here. So I'm going to start the season with my apology that this episode isn't quite as good as I want it to be.
As he does every
episode. I have to apologize every episode.
My friend Jill watched the Christmas episode. Hi, Jill. I love you. And
Jill.
she's
I
like,
love you too.
She's like, you don't need to apologize so much. And I'm like, I don't normally apologize that
I do.
much. It was my topic that I was covering, the pagan history of Christmas. I was worried that it was going to offend somebody.
Yeah,
I said, I don't normally apologize that
I don't
much.
think we got a lot of backlash about that.
We got zero backlash.
Okay, that was not that many people listen,
Yeah.
really.
Oh, somebody commented on a recent episode Eric Orheim sent me.
Yeah,
I don't know who that is.
one of my friends.
Okay. No, I know who Eric is. I don't know who commented.
Oh,
Their name isn't, I mean, their username didn't tell me anything.
Okay.
I don't know if does he have kids?
he might.
Maybe you don't know if he has kids.
I think so.
Okay. You do know this person.
Yes, I do.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, let's get this ball rolling.
All right.
I just
Tunnels.
hit my microphone twice.
Tunnels, tunnel networks. I'm not sure where this came from with Stephanie, but I believe this might have been due to a movie, which I think you are going to talk about. That's one of the
Yes.
things you are going to talk about. But as usual, I am going to start with a definition. Definition of tunnel. According to Wikipedia, a tunnel is, quote, an underground or undersea passageway.
Oh, I don't like the idea of an undersea
No, it is
passageway.
either natural or it is dug through surrounding soil, earth, or rock, or laid underwater and is enclosed except for the entrance and exit, commonly at each end. A tunnel may be for foot or vehicular road traffic, for rail traffic, or for a canal. Some tunnels are used as sewers or aqueducts to supply water for consumption or for hydroelectric stations. I got to get used to reading out loud again. Utility tunnels are used for routing steam, chilled water, electrical power, or telecommunication cables, as well as connecting buildings for convenient passage of people and equipment. Secret tunnels are built for military purposes or by civilians for smuggling of weapons, contraband, or people. Special tunnels, such as wildlife crossings, I think are so sweet. Wildlife crossings are built to allow wildlife to cross human-made barriers safely.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Tunnels can be connected together into tunnel networks. And how they differ from caves is that, according to Wikipedia, a cave is, quote, a natural void in the ground, specifically a space large enough for a human to enter. So I think a cave
don't
could
like
be a
caves.
tunnel if it had an entrance and exit,
Sure.
but tunnels
they're not-
tunnels to me are
man-made.
man-made.
Yeah.
But not necessarily, because there's tunnels that are natural tunnels where it goes from one end to another.
Okay.
So caves are natural and don't necessarily need an exit, and tunnels are usually man-made but can be natural and include an entrance and exit. So there's a difference between caves and tunnels.
Okay. Cool.
I don't really like either of them, to be quite honest with you. So a little...
Agreed.
I realize that this sounds super boring, but it's going to be brief. Here's a history of tunnels. Never thought I would say those words.
This is like a side session.
So it is like a side session.
Tunnels.
Wow, that would be a boring side sessions. Some 3,000 years ago, when our ancestors started discovering techniques of building stable and strong bridges, they also discovered new ways of connecting 2 points of land, tunnels. This discovery was initially This discovery was initially used not for transport of goods and peoples across harsh terrains, but mostly for defensive purposes in the vicinities of important military or royal posts. And think about tunnels below castles. Mm-hmm. Babylonian and Persian architects were the first who saw the potential of large underground networks of tunnels called quant or karis. These irrigation tunnels were used to transport water underground through deserts, enabling life in some of the most hostile lands on planet Earth. The Iranian city of Ghanabad still has a working network of Karis tunnels that is 2,700 years old. That's crazy. In Babylonia, royal families enjoyed fresh water from the Euphrates that was delivered to them through an incredibly built half-mile-long tunnel that was lined with bricks. Greeks and Romans took all the knowledge of Babylonian and ancient Egypt and improved it tenfold. With tunnels, they were able to transport water through mountains and to create pedestrian tunnels through very harsh terrains. To this day, historians wonder how much workforce was involved in the construction of the Posillipo tunnel between Naples and Pozzuoli that was created around 36 BC. This incredible structure is 4,800 feet long, 25 feet wide, and 30 feet high, and it even has ventilation shafts. Less than 100 years later, in 41 AD, Romans used around 30,000 workers to build an even larger tunnel that was 3.5 miles long. That's a pretty long tunnel. After 11 years of work, the tunnel finally enabled drainage of the Fucine Lake. Later in 19th century, Italian Prince Alessandro Tornoia.
You got all the hard names.
Yeah, I need to start pronouncing
way
stuff.
To go.
Yeah, I didn't give you any hard names. I don't think. Alessandro, my buddy Alessandro, commissioned complete drainage of that lake, which was done by the efforts of the Swiss engineer Franz Mayer de Montreiker, who created a new tunnel after 13 years of work. Land that was reclaimed from that lake represents one of the most fertile stretches of land in all of Italy. In European Middle Ages, tunnels were used almost exclusively for mining or for military use. After public transportation finally started to grow during the Renaissance and trading with distant lands became a thing, hundreds of smaller tunnels were created between the mid-1600s and 19th century. But by then, the new driving force of tunnel construction had arrived. Any idea what the pretty modern thing that really drove tunnel construction? Any idea what that was? What do you think that would be?
Subway?
Close. Think transportation. What was a relatively modern way of transporting things? Trains.
Oh, trains.
They needed.
Which I guess subways. Yeah.
They needed to be able
underground. Really.
Yeah,
okay.
or through mountains. Not necessarily
sure.
underground,
Yeah,
but to tunnel
sense.
through mountains.
Mm-hmm.
But by then, the new driving force of tunnel construction became railroads. This new form of transport soon resulted in the creation of tunnels across the entire world. So there is a little bit of the history of tunnels.
That wasn't boring.
It was boring. And I didn't know how to
bored.
pronounce a lot of the names.
Are you going to talk about the catacombs?
No. No, because I tried to keep this. I tried to
we
keep
could do
this.
a whole episode
yes,
on the catacombs.
I tried to keep this like United
Paris
States
Oh,
or
okay.
North America centric.
Gotcha.
Because there is a little bit of Canada in here. So
Okay.
I tried to keep it because there's so much about tunnels like around the world, but I didn't. I just tried to stick with the United States.
Have we ever talked about the catacombs?
No.
I don't think we have.
I don't think we have either. So there's a little bit about the history of tunnels. Exciting stuff.
Is it my turn now?
It is. I have Krista reads. So I believe that is your
great.
turn. And I think this is where Stephanie came up with the idea for this topic. I've never seen this movie.
It's good.
Is it?
It's really good.
Okay.
Super creepy.
Okay.
And then it takes a twist that you're like, wait, what?
I read it on Wikipedia. Like
Okay. Like you do.
I ain't got time for movies anymore. I just read them on Wikipedia. I'm like, that would have been a good movie.
It was a good movie. I really like Jordan Peele's work. Okay, and I'm going to try to do this without my glasses.
I keep reading
we'll see how this
and
goes.
just, it was weird. It's almost like a synchronicity where this has shown up a ton lately.
Tunnels in general?
No. No, but Jordan Peele.
Oh, okay.
It's like showing up a lot for me lately, and I don't know why, but people talking about, and this is a spoiler if you haven't seen Nope,
It's good.
but people talking about the digestion scene. How freaky that scene is.
Well, I can't remember what you're talking about.
Where, don't listen to this next part if you don't want to watch the movie.
Mute it.
Whatever this thing is like eating the people, and it's like stuck.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And they're screaming, and people are saying that's one of the most disturbing. They compared it to Event Horizon, actually. It said
I haven't seen that yet.
Oh my God, you have to see.
I think I told you I was going to watch it over the break, and I didn't.
You have to watch Event Horizon.
I have to.
Like the scene
is it
where
going to mess with me,
this,
though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like Reddit threads
where
where people say, what movie did you watch when you were too young that has messed you up? And so many people say Event Horizon.
Do you think it was that scary because you watched it when you were younger, though?
I think because you didn't realize it was going to be that scary.
Okay.
Like the scene where they watched the video.
Don't tell me.
No, where they watched like the captain's log of what's going on
Yeah.
when the ship goes to
like
the.
You've described this.
Yeah,
a few
like
times.
that is like, oh my God. Like
Okay.
like you go into it thinking it's just going to be like a sci-fi movie, but it's like sci-fi horror. Like, yeah. So maybe
I'll watch it before we record again.
Okay. We digress.
We do. Oh, but you said Jordan Peele. It keeps coming up. What keeps coming up?
The digestion scene from the movie
scene,
Nope that people said is like one of the most disturbing scenes. And I've watched it on YouTube, and I'm like, that is pretty creepy.
It's a great movie, too.
Yeah.
I don't think I've watched anything of his I didn't love. He has a great take on the horror genre. Okay, from a March 29th, 2019 article on, I think it's oxygen.com.
It's Oxygen.
Not oxygen.
So the thing is, you guys, like when I am doing my show notes, I am using old school
notepad,
not like Microsoft, not even WordPad. I'm using just straight up Notepad because everything else I use,
it's the formatting gets
formats
all
it, and it just drives me crazy. So everything formats the same in Notepad, but everything.
There's a format painter button you can use.
Everything is I like typing stuff, and there's so many misspellings. So
I only noticed 2, and now 3. Oxygen.com. So the name of the article is Here's the Truth About the Unexplained Tunnels in Jordan Peele's Us. Jordan Peele's record-breaking horror film Us begins with the words, quote, "There are thousands of miles of tunnels beneath the United States. Abandoned subway systems, unused service routes, and deserted mine shafts. Many have no known purpose at all." And with this ominous foreword, Peele's latest masterpiece tells the story of a family engaged in a battle for their lives after their doppelgangers emerge. As the apocalyptic narrative unfolds, we're told that the evil doubles emerged from the sewers, having lived their wretched lives in a vast underground network of clandestine tunnels existing just below our society. And although the situation is clearly a metaphor for class and identity, Peele's initial claims about the existence of an American subterranean world is a terrifying one. Could it be true? As it turns out, Peele's assertions, thank you, about America's... Would assertions have also worked?
I don't think
so.
Just
ad-libbing. About America's underground tunnels are far less far-fetched than it might seem at first glance. The idea of a massive underground tunnel networks has been the basis for plenty of conspiracies, with theorists engaging in endless debates about the existence of such tunnels, as well as the extent to which these passages were or are used for drug and human trafficking, or by the government for nefarious military reasons.
Yeah, I said before the episode that...
It just makes sense.
We talked in the Deep Underground Military Base episode about that people believe that there's an underground network that has like this insanely fast... magnetic powered train that can take you from New York to Los Angeles in like 20 minutes. You know, so we talked about that in that episode, so I didn't want to rehash that.
Sure.
But there are people that do believe that the government has this.
I wouldn't doubt it.
There's machines that, there's pictures of people with the machines that can drill. You know, people, I don't know if this is true, but people think that these machines that go in, it can drill like so much space in so little time. And what it does is it takes the rocks that it's drilling through and it becomes fuel for the driller, and it superheats the passage so that the cave is basically glass.
Interesting.
So, but
I know I've asked this before.
To do that across the country.
Yeah, that would be like, how long would that take too?
Yeah. Plus, as you're going to see, as we're going to talk about pretty soon, like every city has tunnels underneath it, basically.
Right. It'd have to go underneath.
It would have to go like underneath that.
And also to be able to move that fast, wouldn't it theoretically need to be a straight shot?
Yeah. If you go back and listen to the deep underground we talked about how if it goes around a corner and you're not belted in, you'll die and stuff like that.
Literally die.
People pass out because the thing.
Sure.
People supposedly, if this exists, pass out because it goes so fast. So, we'll get into it more when we talk about the what do you think. But
so
there
did
are
your
people.
dad ride? Was it a machine that he sat in?
No,
for his
I think
job?
he did like manual drilling.
Okay.
I don't know. Like we're still trying to figure out what exactly my dad all did. Because
listen to past episodes. The man was at Area 51. People.
He was at Dugway. He was at Area 51. I think he was involved in burying nuclear waste and stuff like that. I think that's why he was at Area 51.
Ooh. Okay.
But then there's the stuff my aunt told me, which is just weird. About how he told.
Do we need to do an episode about your dad?
We might have to do an
like
episode about my dad, about how he tells people that he's just a driller, but he's so much more than that. And the story about when he was on the military base and they were driving and he saw like 2 or 3 soldiers just staring at a boulder in a field, and all of a sudden a hatch on the boulder opened and they reached in and took something out that looked like a human. So
Have
it's
you
just
told me this?
I think so.
Oh
I thought
gosh.
I did. So because he told my aunt
remember
that, so
that.
she told me that.
Wow.
And it's like
we gotta have an episode.
yeah,
about
he
your
was
dad.
he was into some stuff. We talked about the drilling beneath the Russian embassy in Washington, D.C. that he helped drill to put a listening device in. So, yeah, there was my dad.
My dad was 007.
Corey still wants to do a Freedom of Information Act to find out what exactly my dad all did.
He should. That'd be a great episode.
Yeah, I wish I would have been able to ask him more.
I know.
Because I remember that was like the year he died when I went to his apartment and he made me dinner and I went in and sat down and he had something about Area 51 on the History Channel and I asked him, like, you've been to Area 51? And he looked at me and I could tell that he was like, should I say something? And he's like, I shouldn't tell you this, but yes. And he said, the only 2 things I'm going to tell you. He said, number 1, the place is an environmental nightmare. And number 2, I didn't see any damn aliens. That's all he said.
That's great.
So yeah, we'll have to.
Didn't see any damn aliens.
But I wish I knew.
Well, like you said, I'm sure they didn't just let him wander around.
No, you don't. Like when he said that. He said when you go there, you just can't wander from hangar to hangar. He said you have 2 guards on you at all times with rifles. Dang. So you don't get there. You don't get to like just wander to the gift shop and get something.
The gift shop, Area 51 gift shop. Okay, back to the article. There are way more tunnels underground wherever you are in the United States than you would imagine, said Hunt. There are just crazy layers of infrastructure, whether they be active or abandoned transportation tunnels, sewer lines, aqueducts, or even military or government infrastructure hidden underground. Wherever you go, there's something under your feet that people don't think about. But do people actually inhabit these abandoned shafts? Hunt says the answer is yes. I've actually seen documentaries.
Yeah, there are documentaries about like the mole people and stuff.
Yeah. On YouTube.
We talked about them a little bit, I think, in the deep underground military bases. We talked about them at some point.
Okay.
Because, like, you can have, like, your own little bed and stuff. And once the tunnels flood, you lose everything.
Everything.
You know?
I can't imagine living like that.
No.
I need daylight. In the deeper strata of New York City, you find mole people. You find people who have made homes for themselves in deep hidden nooks and alcoves under the city, he continued. They're these marginalized, forgotten people who are living completely out of sight in essentially a separate reality. Although the actual mole people are not inventions of a government brainwashing experiment like in Us, Hunt emphasizes that this population can be understood as a metonym for national identity. The underground has always been the unconscious, Hunt said. When we're talking about the unconscious of a culture of the United States, a good place to explore those forces is beneath the surface. Basically, any city of any size that has like a stratified society where there are people who are struggling, you're going to find these communities who have gathered in hidden places. And they say something about the society on the surface. They're a reflection of our darknesses, the injustices of our society on the surface. Ultimately, although the concept of us is richly... It says conceit. The concept of us is richly fantastical. It's actually not as surreal as the film would have audiences believe. Those underground tunnels probably aren't populated by your double, but if they're as vast as they seem to be, we can't make any promises.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are tunnels everywhere. You know, I don't know if
I bet, like you said, every city at some place.
Like
whether it's like city buildings to get
Yep.
between or college campuses.
I think I've told this story on here before, but by Red Arrow Park in Manitowoc, where the lake, it's the beach, there's a big a drainage tunnel that's 10 feet high, like 10 feet high. And it goes in, and now it's locked off. But back when we were in high school, you could just wander in there. So one day, I think it was Jamie, Jim, Mike, and I went in there. And it was crazy, like how far we went, and then finally we were like, let's just go back because we were so far in there. But what's creepy, and I think I might have talked about this on here, I'm hoping these guys even remember this. We turned around and started walking back to the entrance, and we could hear yelling coming from the entrance. And we're like, and we yelled back, of course, because we were dumb teenagers. We're yelling back, and we get towards the opening where you can see like the light, and we could see stuff hanging there. And we get up there, and what was hanging there were dead rats hanging by their entrails. Like somebody hung them from the top of the tunnel, from above the entrance to the tunnel with rocks.
After you went in?
Yes, with rocks on their organs, so the rats were hanging down. Those were called the rat tunnels. That's what people call the rat tunnels. It was. And I specifically remember us going on top of the tunnel and like kicking the rocks off and dropping the rats down. And it's weird. Were we like cursed? Like, what was that? Was somebody mad that we went in there? And did they kill the rats? Why were the rats hung by their... but yeah.
I have so many questions that I don't want to ask.
But it was crazy to us how we were just underneath the city, like walking underneath the city in these tunnels.
Oh.
And
And somebody knew you went in there.
Yeah, because that's who was yelling at us when we like I said, we came out, and I specifically remember 2 rats being hung at the entrance. So
do you know what I just realized?
What?
The synchronicity between the fact that I watched the movie Barbarian last night and the tunnels today.
That's true.
There are a lot of tunnels in that movie.
There were a lot of tunnels and a lot of weird
stuff.
Barbarian's a weird movie.
I recommend it though. It was scary, but the tunnels, wow.
Yep.
Weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's like Manitowoc has tunnels, like every major city. And we're going to get into a lot of these.
And Manitowoc's not even a major city.
No, we're going to get into a lot of them right now, I think, as a matter of fact. A lot of major cities have tunnel systems.
Cool.
And I do the first one.
Kurt reads one.
Kurt reads. So this one isn't a city, but talking about tunnels, I had to do this one because this is near and dear to my heart. Any ideas?
UWGB.
The University of Wisconsin Green Bay main campus has a concourse system of underground corridors, casually referred to as tunnels, that connect 11 of its buildings. Designed with the David A. Coffrin Library at its center, subterranean hallways branch out to student services, the University Union, and 7 academic buildings. In addition to helping with accessibility, the tunnels help faculty, staff, and students navigate the campus in Green Bay's famously adverse weather. And it's because you call them tunnels when you're there, but it's like a hallway. You wouldn't think that you were in a tunnel, but it's really cool that like during a snowstorm, you don't have to go outside, that you could basically go everywhere on the campus that you want to go in tunnels.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I loved UWGB. I'm so nostalgic for it, but whenever I heard tunnels, I think of just walking the hallways.
Have you ever gone back to the campus?
Yeah, it's so weird.
And it's so pretty
different.
too. It's really close to the bay. Can you see the bay?
I think so. Okay. I think if you're like in the Coffrin Library.
Okay.
But I remember, I think I talked about this on here, in the Humanities Lounge where all the English majors hung out. We had this special room that was just like a couch, a table, like you could just go in there and chill. And I used to, because my last semester there, I had 16,000 pages of reading that semester. So I would get done with class at like 8 a.m. and then just lay on the couch there and read until my next class at like 3 p.m. And student, friends would come and in between classes and talk to me and stuff. But I was in there with Zane and I can't think of her name right now, but it was me, Zane, and a girl were in there. And Zane was like messing around on the wall where there was this big metal like door.
Okay.
And he finally managed to open it, and it went into like a series of tunnels behind that room where there were like boilers.
Oh. Okay.
So we crawled in there and wrote our
course.
names on the wall.
As you
But it
do.
was just so weird because we didn't know what it was going to, we thought it was just going to be like a panel, but
Yeah.
there's like, you could hoist yourself in there and you're in this like little tunnel
Probably
system.
really dangerous.
It probably was, but hey, you're in college.
Could
But
have been
it was just cool.
electrocuted.
We wrote our names on the wall in there, but even the building had tunnels in it, but everybody remembers the tunnels connecting the buildings that you used to use during snowstorms. So that is what I was going to talk about is UWGB.
Nice. My turn?
Your turn. This one was a big one back in January of 2021?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from an article, January 12th, 2021 in Popular Science titled, Washington, D.C. is home to a fascinating labyrinth of tunnels. This week's unprecedented siege of the U.S. Capitol highlighted the large tunnel network that lies under Capitol Hill, as well as other underground links throughout Washington, D.C. Many of these are used on a day-to-day basis just to conveniently get between government buildings without going outside, but as was shown yesterday, they also have a clear value in helping people escape to safety during a crisis. The tunnels that connect the Cannon and James Madison buildings to the Capitol and other nearby buildings, as well as various underground parking garages, are part of a labyrinth of at least 19 underground passages on Capitol Hill that people and vehicles can move through. The first tunnels emanating from the Capitol building itself, construction of which was initially completed in 1800. I was really surprised when I read that.
Yeah.
And which, can you imagine the work, how that work would have been so different than it is today? Like the tools that they would have had. It's crazy. Yep. And which had been substantially rebuilt after British forces set it on fire during the War of 1812, date back to the latter half of the 19th century. The first of these, dug out during the Civil War, were for ventilation, followed by a link to the then new Library of Congress building nearby in 1898, through which books passed on an electrically powered conveyor. That latter system is sadly no longer in operation.
I remember when that siege was going on that they were talking about like getting Congress people out through the tunnels. And I don't know if I knew that there were tunnels, but Washington, D.C.
That makes sense.
The one city that I did not talk about in here because there's just too much is New York City. There's like tons of tunnels.
That's where a lot of the mole people live.
Yeah. So I didn't even talk about New York City in here because that could almost be an episode in itself.
The first tunnels out of the Capitol intended for use by people were the ones linking it to the Cannon building as well as the Russell Senate office building to the north. These were and remain satellite office buildings where many of America's legislators actually work. The Cannon building opened in 1908, with the Russell building being finished the following year. Wow, these buildings are so old. From the people over in the UK are probably like, really?
Yeah. Yep.
You call that old? From the very beginning, the Russell building has also had a subway car system, originally just electrically powered Studebaker cars. I don't know why I love that so much, but I do.
I think that's so cool. I thought that was cool too when I found that.
That could be like an amusement park ride at this point.
Yeah, the electrically powered Studebaker car.
Studebaker cars that would drive the route to move senators and others to and from the Capitol. As Congress's footprint on Capitol Hill continued to expand over the next century or so, so did the number of tunnels. The passages have been steadily enlarged and improved as well. Today, for instance, the Cannon Tunnel between it and the Capitol is closer to an underground town than it is a simple access tunnel, with a shoe repair store, post office, credit union, and cafeteria along the road. It is also distinguished by the artwork on its walls provided by students from across the United States. That's really cool.
That is super cool.
I feel like they have a built-in fallout shelter. Like, nuclear war comes, these people are set.
Yep.
Similarly, some of the tunnels that led out of the James Madison Memorial Building host the offices of the architect of the Capitol, which is responsible for a masonry shop, carpentry shop, and machine rooms used for the maintenance of the Capitol buildings, plus a bodega. Just throwing a bodega.
Need a bodega.
The Capitol subway system also received upgrades and improvements, first in the form of a monorail. Do you remember this episode of The Simpsons?
Everybody remembers the monorail.
I can't hear that.
That constantly gets voted the best episode of The Simpsons.
It's so good.
The episode of The Simpsons that people hate, I actually loved. Like one of their most hated episodes is the one where Principal Skinner, you find out that he's not really Principal Skinner. That he's somebody else. Like people hated that episode, and I think that's one of the funniest episodes because at the end of the episode, like the actual Skinner, they run out of town, like on the rail, and they're like, we're just gonna pretend that you're Principal Skinner, and they, like they make fun of the fact that they'll just wash over that episode and everything will go back to being the same. But people hate that episode, and I actually really like that episode.
I always looked forward to the Treehouse of Horror episodes.
Yes,
of course.
My favorite episode was probably, it was like 20 short films about Springfield, where it was like that. I think that was the episode that had the steamed ham. Did you ever see the steamed ham?
Probably.
Where
I used to watch it religiously.
Superintendent Chalmers comes over to Principal Skinner's for hamburgers and called them steamed ham.
Yeah.
That's like a classic.
I probably
hams.
haven't watched it in like 15 years. It's been a long time.
I'll have to send you the steamed ham.
Yeah,
clip.
you should. Steamed ham. So the monorail replaced Studebakers, which eventually gave way to a more traditional light rail links. Starting in 1960, additional subway lines were added to cover other congressional offices beyond the Russell Building.
Yeah, Washington, D.C. has a ton. I'm guessing a ton of stuff that we don't even know about, tunnels that we don't even know about.
Sure.
So that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
My next one is weird because this has been a synchronicity, because I researched this, and then a couple days later I was listening to the Monsters Among Us podcast, and they referenced this. And then I saw a news article about this on TV, like within a couple days of that. So it's so weird that this was like a synchronicity. But I will be talking about Portland's Shanghai tunnels. And the Shanghai tunnel name is inherently racist, calling them Shanghai. But we'll get into that. But they call it that. Yourself. They call it Shanghai because they believe that tunnels were used to kidnap people to force them into labor.
Oh, okay.
So this comes from the PortlandTunnels.com website. Quote, at one time, this great city we know today as Portland, Oregon, was a river town whose beginnings we often look upon as being nothing more than a humble Victorian settlement. However, in reality, it was considered the most dangerous port in the world because of the Shanghaiing trade. Stopping for a drink in such notorious establishments as Erickson's Saloon, the Snug Harbor Saloon, and the Valhalla Saloon, people soon became unsuspecting victims who found themselves beneath the streets and tunnels and being carried out to the waterfront and sold for blood money. Portland, Oregon, the Victorian refined City of Roses along the Willamette River, earned the reputation of being the Shanghai capital of the world because of the uncontrolled Shanghaiing of unsuspecting men. These men, primarily sailors, loggers, cowboys, sheep herders, those who worked on the river, and others that lived a wanderlust life and who played just as hard as they worked, found themselves victims of the worst skullduggery imaginable. Skullduggery. That's a great word. Thousands of them found themselves in the clutches of Shanghaiers and crimps who either forcibly grabbed them off the streets, slipped knockout drops in the saloon, pool hall, and gambling parlor drinks. They were hauled out of opium dens and houses of prostitution, or cleverly dropped down through deadfalls or trap doors that were conveniently situated in a wide array of vice establishments.
Vice establishments.
Vice establishments. Women in early Portland's history had to also be extra cautious when venturing into certain areas of the city. They were warned not to go to dances and to stay out of restaurants, saloons, and other establishments of the evening. They, too, became victims of the shadowy part of the city's history and found themselves being carried or dragged through the infamous network of wharf rat-dominated Shanghai tunnels and unfortunately sold into prostitution. Like a speck of dust, most of these women just seemed to vanish and were never heard from again. The victims were held captive in small brick cells or makeshift wood and tin holding cells until they were sold to the sea captains. A sea captain who needed additional men. They didn't have unions back then, I'm guessing. A sea captain who needed additional men to fill his crew notified the Shanghaiers that he was ready to set sail in the morning and would purchase the men for $50 to $55 a head. Knockout drops were then slipped into the confined victims' food or water. Unconscious, they were taken through a network of tunnels that snaked their way under the city all the way to the waterfront, where they were placed aboard ships and didn't awake until many hours later after they had crossed the bar into the Pacific Ocean. It took many of these men as long as 2 full voyages, that's 6 years, to make it back to Portland. All along the Portland waterfront, Shanghai tunnels ran beneath the city, allowing a hidden world to exist. These catacombs connected to the many saloons, brothels, gambling parlors, and opium dens, which drew great numbers of men and became ideal places for the Shanghaiers to kidnap their victims. They were also used to move supplies between the stores and the docked ships, and during Prohibition, illegal bars were moved underground into the tunnels, which made it easier to kidnap men and women. It's believed that as many as 1,500 people per year were shanghaied through Portland's underground. And here's the thing, there's a lot of debate about whether or not this actually happened. There's people that swear that this was not happening.
Really?
Yeah, that people were not getting kidnapped.
Doesn't surprise me if it did.
No, but then there's other people that are saying, yes, it happened. So I don't know. I mean, I read stuff about, this could have been a whole episode too, actually, because it's also haunted. Tunnels are also haunted, of course.
I feel like this has come up on an episode of one of the ghost hunting shows.
Yeah. So there's a lot of debate about whether or not people were, I'm sure at least one person was kidnapped in those tunnels.
Right? Yeah.
You know? There's a lot of debate about whether or not this happened.
I feel like there's a lot of information about it for it to not have some kind of thread of truth.
The first actual mention of the history of using the tunnels to kidnap people didn't show up until the early 1970s. So you think it would have happened earlier if it was actually happening? But again, the tunnels are supposedly haunted. From PortlandGhosts.com, quote, "It will come as no surprise to learn that the Shanghai tunnels are reportedly one of the most haunted places on the planet. Deep within the tunnels, travelers report feeling goosebumps as if someone is watching them from the shadows. Many people report seeing an Asian man walk past them in the tunnels. Explorers name this spirit Sam and say that he is responsible for turning off the lights in bar basements. Sam also likes to move things around in the tunnels as explorers walk by. One tour guide reported hearing a voice calling out the name Sam over and over again. It echoed through the tunnel and scared his guests. Because his entire group was behind him, he knew that it was not one of them. He says it was one of the scariest experiences of his life. Other people report seeing quick movements of shadow and feeling ghostly fingers on their shoulders when no one else is around. Most tunnel tourists say that Sam is a good ghost and look forward to feeling his presence. Other tunnel spirits, though, are known as tricksters who just love to have a good time. They will often pull at your shirt tail or gently tug at the end of your hair. One guest reported feeling a small tug on her shirt right before she tripped. She was not injured, but it was an experience she said she will never forget. While most of the ghosts down in the Shanghai tunnels are reportedly friendly, it's still better to remain cautious. Some people do recall feeling unwelcome, like someone or something was watching them. One man remembers hearing the sounds of childlike whistling just before he was thrown down to the ground. After standing up, he turned around to see who had knocked him down. Lifting his flashlight, he saw that no one was behind him. The man reported that it was the last time he would be visiting the Shanghai tunnels. So, yeah, that's supposedly a very haunted location. But I just think I would love to actually tour them. Mm-hmm. I'm not a tunnel guy.
Right.
But I think, I don't know. I feel like there's a difference between a tunnel that you'd have to like walk hunched over in. And I don't feel like this is that. I feel like this is a pretty big network.
Right.
But I would actually love to visit. I'd love to visit Portland for starters.
Yeah.
I'm like fascinated with Portland, but I would love to visit the Shanghai tunnels. So there you go. That is one of mine.
I feel like tunnels in general, just over history, is where bad stuff happens.
Yeah.
Like you think of asylums that had tunnels. It's like where
you need to watch Butterfly Kisses. You need to, because it involves a tunnel.
Okay.
But you need to watch the movie Butterfly Kisses.
That and Event Horizon.
Event Horizon.
I promise.
Yes.
Okay, I knew about the Disney tunnels before I read this, but this gave me a lot more information.
I did too, but I just think it's fascinating. Like
it really is.
I think the Disney tunnels are fascinating.
From an allthatisinteresting.com article called The Inside Story of Walt Disney's Secret Tunnels Beneath the Magic Kingdom. The sights and sound of Walt Disney's Magic Kingdom are familiar to millions around the world. Never been to any Disney thing.
I was at Disney when I was like 10 or 9 or 10 when I was a little kid.
From the iconic
I'm not going to say it on here. That's sassy.
Okay.
It's sassy.
Okay.
We didn't. No, I'm not going to say it on here.
You're funny. Is that for the side sessions?
We'll say that for the side sessions.
Okay.
It's not super naughty, but it's a little naughty.
From the iconic.
When we were there as kids, at even 9.
Okay.
There was we were there and there was a freak rainstorm.
Okay.
And a lot of people were wearing T-shirts. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. I see what you're saying there. I smell what you're cooking.
You're picking up what I'm putting down.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I am. From the iconic theme park rides to the costumed cast members, welcoming kids throughout the different themed lands, the illusion of stepping into an imaginary place is almost seamless here. And the creator went to extraordinary lengths to maintain it, especially with Disney's underground tunnels hidden below the Magic Kingdom. Disney shuddered at the thought of a young parkgoer spotting Mickey Mouse taking a lunch break and shattering their trust in his creations.
Which I get. Like, if you're a kid and all of a sudden you see Mickey with his head off smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
That's going to kind of kill the mood.
A little bit. In order to not reveal the man behind the curtain, Disney built the utilidor system to hide the everyday lives of workers from parkgoers. I would imagine as a worker, too, you want to be able to just do some things without people watching you. Like, just eat your lunch. Maybe you don't want to do it sitting out in public.
Yeah. I think it was a brilliant idea.
Yeah. Since 1971, the 9-acre tunnel complex beneath the Magic Kingdom in Orlando, Florida, has let costumed cast members shuttle from one area of the park to another without being detected by visitors. The hidden labyrinth connects locker rooms, dining halls, rehearsal spaces, and ATMs. Over the years, people have tried to attach dark urban legends to Disney's tunnels, including rumors of child trafficking and kidnapped children. But the real story of Disney's tunnels is even more fascinating. Is it?
Yeah, this is because I did not realize what you're going to be reading very soon, about the park.
The construction
of it. I never realized that.
This is interesting. As legend has it, Disney was walking...
Nope, over the years, people have tried to attach dark urban legends to Disney tunnels. Did you?
I did.
Did you talk about child trafficking?
I did.
Did you talk about kidnapped children?
I did. And then I said, but the real story of Disney's tunnels is even more fascinating.
I stand corrected.
That's funny. Play it back. Should we do that? Have you seen those commercials? Should we do the replay? Should we call a replay?
I've never seen those commercials.
Oh, they're funny.
I always see the Jardians one. The stupid Jardians commercial that drives me nuts.
They throw the red flag. What is that called in football? Challenge. Should we challenge? And then they replay it? Oh, it's funny. Well, we don't have to. It's on video. As legend has it, Disney was walking the grounds of his Anaheim park when he spotted a cast member in cowboy regalia strolling through Tomorrowland. What some would dismiss as merely a curiosity was unacceptable to Disney, who wanted the Magic Kingdom's magic to remain seamless. So that would be weird because someone from in a cowboy costume should not be in Tomorrowland. I don't know what any of that is.
But if you're a kid, are you really... Tomorrowland's like the future.
Okay. So somebody from the Wild West shouldn't
be in the future.
Around.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
But if you're a kid, are you going to be... Is that going to ruin your Disney experience?
No, unless you were a certain age, maybe.
Yeah, like a teenager, you'd make fun. Are you a time traveler?
Right. He thus decided that his next venture in Florida would include a network of secret utility corridors, or the utilidor.
Utilidor sounds like...
I love that word.
It sounds like a bad guy from like the old Star Trek series where they had to fight Utilidor.
Or like a James Bond movie.
Yeah.
That separated visitors from employees. It soon became obvious that the water table in the Lake Buena Vista area, and Florida in general, was too high to build anything underground, however.
This is the part that I think is fascinating.
It is fascinating. You're right. So Disney's tunnels aren't actually underground at all. Disney conquered the challenge of Florida's swampy terrain provided with yet another illusion. He built the utilidor at ground level and simply covered it with the park itself on the next level. Is there a word missing there? Engineers added an imperceptible...
No, he built the utilidor at ground level and simply covered it with the park itself on the next
level. Engineers added an imperceptible incline leading onto the ground, and visitors wouldn't even realize they had climbed an extra 15 feet when they stepped into the Magic Kingdom with the tunnels below.
I think that's so fascinating that you actually walk up
first.
The tunnels.
That's interesting.
Like they did the tunnels and then they built the park on top of the tunnels, but they have the incline going so gradually you don't realize that you're going up.
So this was like a newer park. And he decided to solve issues he saw at other parks with these tunnels, right? Okay. Yep. The utilidor connects the park's themed lands in a circular route from Adventureland and Fantasyland to Liberty Square and Tomorrowland. At the center lies Main Street, USA, which leads to two offshoot tunnels that lead straight to Frontierland and Fantasyland. The utilidor is no basic set of tunnels, however. It includes the Mousqueteria, where employees eat lunch, Kingdom Cutter's makeup and salon station, as well as locker rooms and a rehearsal space. The central operations room controlling the entire park's animatronics and lights is down there too. The park's character zoo housed 1.2 million of the Magic Kingdom's costumes in the tunnel.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
That's a lot of costumes.
Until 2005 when it was moved to an above-ground warehouse. I would imagine if there were even just a slight chance of like flooding, you wouldn't want all that housed
you'd
down
lose
there.
all those costumes.
Well, you'd lose everything that's down there, but yeah. For decades, people outside the park didn't really know about the tunnels. Nowadays, although the Utilidor still functions as a way of keeping the Magic Kingdom's illusion alive, the theme park has pulled back the curtain for the curious. Guests who buy tickets for the Keys to the Kingdom tour are able to walk the tunnels themselves and witness Disney's underground vision firsthand.
Yep. I just think that's cool.
It is cool.
I realized that wasn't a city, but I wanted to put it in there because I like the Disney.
Probably is big enough to be a city.
Yeah. So my next one is Dallas, Texas. This comes from theculturetrip.com from an article called, quote, A Look Inside Dallas's Underground Tunnels. Article says, quote, Deep below the bustling streets of downtown Dallas, a labyrinth of underground tunnels weave and curve beneath one of the most dynamic areas of the city. Unknown to many locals, the Dallas pedestrian network connects many of the downtown's biggest skyscrapers, businesses, and residential buildings. Comprising 3 miles of tunnels, the Dallas pedestrian network was the brainchild of urban developer Vincent Ponte. Starting in 1969, his plan influenced development in Dallas throughout the 70s and 80s by including underground tunnels and passageways for residents and visitors to get around the downtown area without suffering from rain or extreme Texas heat. In the 90s, the tunnels were blamed for the significant loss of foot traffic and, ultimately, the economic downturn of many stores and businesses on the street level of downtown Dallas.
I could imagine that.
Today, the tunnels still exist, but not in the way originally envisioned by Ponte. Parts of the tunnel system have been shut off due to building closures and new development plans, while others are now privately owned, requiring a key to enter. The tunnels are also closed on the nights and weekends, meaning the only time to explore these tunnels is during the busy downtown work week. All of this to say they're still an attraction worth checking out. A fascinating aspect of Dallas that most locals and travelers don't know about, the tunnels offer a fun weekday exploration experience. The most common entrances are at the Thanksgiving Square, Renaissance Tower, One Main Place, and Bank of America Plaza, though they can be a bit hard to find as most buildings don't have signs for them. Generally, entrances can be found by taking the elevator to the garage or looking for a set of stairs that goes down past the street level. Luckily, maps can be found that provide looks at which tunnels are accessible. Once inside, the tunnels are air-conditioned and are well kept, as many office workers in downtown Dallas still use them to get around. Explorers can check out tunnels containing local art and small businesses before grabbing a snack at one of the city's subterranean food courts and heading above ground to explore the best attractions Dallas has to offer above ground. I just think that's cool. It was a good idea, but then you realize that people aren't going to pop into your store because they're walking through the underground tunnels to get to where they need to go. So maybe not a lot of foresight when they made that, but I just think it's cool. And like pictures of it, it looks really neat. This next, the one that you're going to be reading, was actually suggested by Logan. Like Logan said, if you guys do tunnels, talk about Minneapolis.
Okay.
Minneapolis, St. Paul, Twin Cities. So this is for you, Logan.
It says St. Paul has the labyrinth. There's an I in there that shouldn't be there.
I ain't got time to make everything perfect.
The Minnesota Daily, August 2nd, 2017 article is titled Explorers Brave Twin Cities Underground. Oh, I like this one.
I have no problem. I have no problem going into a tunnel network. I don't want to go into a labyrinth.
True.
There's a big difference.
And also, isn't this the one where people are like super protective of them?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't want to deal with that either. Deep below St. Paul streets sprawls a web of abandoned utility tunnels, the remnants of a once great underground service system. These tunnels, known as the Labyrinth, now lie in semi-abandonment, discarded by their original owners and frequented only by the subterranean prospectors of our time, urban explorers. By the way, there's some great urban exploration videos on YouTube channels.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't agree with some of it when they're breaking into places.
They try to keep it secret, which they talk about in here, because they're like, guys, if we tell you where this is, it's going to get destroyed.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who go and don't.
Well, there's reputable urban explorers but then there's ones that are very careless.
Yes, 100%. I agree.
I have conflicting feelings on the urban exploration stuff.
Just like their Wild West counterparts, the urban exploring community is a territorial, gritty bunch with often conflicting claims to the tunnels and caves that permeate the Twin Cities. This territorial attitude has kept the 70-mile-long labyrinth safe from excessive foot traffic, tourists, and police presence.
Miles.
Yeah, that's insane. But some explorers have found the very protective streak that guards the tunnels can also exclude the urban exploring or urbex community. There's one guy I follow on YouTube called Urbex Hill, and I don't know, I can't say I love you, dude, but I can't say that some of this stuff isn't staged because he has a lot of creepy stuff happen to him.
Oh.
Part of it is running into other people.
Yeah.
And he's in Cleveland, I think, Ohio, which is like not a great place.
Yeah.
It's kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
So really good to watch, though. Entertaining. People are very territorial. They're like, this is my cave. I want to be able to come back here, said Junior Nathan Anderson. He's a junior, like in high school?
I'm guessing.
Okay. An explorer in the Twin Cities. Anderson has yet to crack into the labyrinth, but not for lack of trying. With the aid of vague maps posted on Urbex websites and a knack for spelunking, he's found 8 entrances around the city. None so far have panned out. About 3 months into exploring, I found out about, quote, in parentheses, the labyrinth, Anderson said. And I was like, this is the holy grail. On July 27, Anderson gave a photographer and me a tour of one of Minneapolis's slightly less lauded subterranean venues, a sandstone cave. With 8 offshoots, this grotto was just a fraction of the labyrinth's size. Before scheduling the visit, Anderson asked us not to name the cave. While not nearly as prized or occult as the labyrinth, he fears it will be closed if police catch wind it was reopened. A lot of it has to do with safety, too. People are just stupid.
Yeah.
Of course, reopened is a loose term, given urban exploring was the main reason the cave was shut down. That and the opening we scrambled down was barely a foot wide.
That's where they lost me. When the opening was a foot wide. Nope.
Anderson checked before the expedition that both journalist and photographer could squeeze in at a relatively lean 5 feet 7 inches and 5 feet 11 inches. We scraped through.
No,
at 5'5", you wouldn't even catch me.
I get anxiety just thinking about going into
Same.
that.
I watched Josh Gates, who's got to be like 6'3" or something, squeezing himself into tiny holes. And I'm like, dude, I mean, thank you for doing it so that we can watch you, but no.
No.
Dating back to 1865, the labyrinth's massive tangle includes telephone, gas, and trolley line tunnels. Now mostly abandoned, the labyrinth is so vast it has been compared to Paris's catacombs. But like most well-preserved locations, it remains under lock and key, masked by explorers who want to protect it, which I think is cool. In the Twin Cities, a more prolific, if slightly less detailed, Urbex website known as Action Squad serves a similar purpose to bolster alienated explorers. The website remains popular even though the group has disbanded. Founded in 1996, Action Squad was a band of curious Twin City explorers who documented years of missions into the area's depths. The squad released heaps of information on Urbex sites in the cities and, because of their prolific writings, remains a point of contention in the community. One of their most disputed posts was an intricate map of the labyrinth in 2001, but details like street names and entrances were later stripped from the map, plunging the labyrinth back into obscurity.
It's so fascinating. It's like a treasure
hunt,
almost,
of.
Where there's this map, like a secretive map of how to get into this labyrinth.
Today, groups like Action Squad and Forgotten World struggle to strike a balance between helping fellow scouts and protecting turf from vandals, arsonists, police, and inexperienced scouts who could get injured. Their fears are not without merit. In 2009, urban photographer Ian Talty died in tunnels near the labyrinth. The advent of the 2008 Republican National Convention also upped the security in the labyrinth, and a maze of functional steam tunnels under the University of Minnesota lost its loyal adventurers to increased security measures like high-definition cameras and alarm systems. The cave Anderson navigated for us showed every sign of constant visitors. Nearly every wall was covered in tags and crude sketches. In one alcove, small candles littered the ground, and Anderson explained that the pockmarked wall, dubbed Stairway to Heaven, is a popular spot for candlelit Instagram photo shoots. A past explorer had tagged prom, on a nearby wall.
Bring his date down there?
Yikes. I mean, hey, if you find a girl who's into that, you're...
People doing their Instagram photo shoots in places like this just annoy me too.
Yeah, it's just weird.
That's just old crotchety old man Kurt coming out.
Get off my lawn. But Anderson said it was a YouTube video featuring a common hideout like this one that prompted a fellow explorer to send him death threats. Death threats, people.
Yep.
His aggressor believed the video posted to Anderson's YouTube channel, Unseen Minnesota, overexposed his cave. They were saying, the next time I see you in my cave, I'll kill you, Anderson said. It's happened multiple times, people. It's a cave. Unless you're living there and it's like your home.
It's not your cave.
Similarly, a university professor who penned a book on the historical and geological aspects of Twin Cities' underground world was disparaged by the urbex community for everything from criticizing online urbex resources to revealing cave and tunnel entrances. He declined to comment to avoid further criticism. Wow, people are...
Mm-hmm. But also, along with the tunnels, there's what?
The Minneapolis Skyway
I
system.
love the Minneapolis Skyway.
I've never been to Minneapolis.
Skyway, also an awesome song by The Replacements.
Oh, okay.
FYI.
From Wikipedia, the Minneapolis Skyway system is an interlinked collection of enclosed pedestrian footbridges that connect various buildings in 80 full city blocks over 9.5 miles of downtown Minneapolis. The Minneapolis Skyways connect the second or third floors of various office towers, hotels, banks, corporate and government offices, restaurants, and retail stores to the Nicollet Mall shopping district, the Mayo Clinic Square. I have been to Minneapolis because I took my dad to the
When
Mayo
I
Clinic.
was there, I think in 96 for the Mystery Science Theater convention, we took the Skyway a lot. And we got lost in the Skyway because it's just... Every place has a skyway connecting the buildings, and we just got massively lost.
So I have been to the Mayo Clinic, and I forgot about that. But it's actually really common for hospital buildings to be connected by skyways.
Manitowoc, Holy Family Hospital has a skyway that gets from one side to the other side of the road.
Where did I leave off? And the sports facilities at Target Center, Target Field, and U.S. Bank Stadium. Several condominium and apartment complexes are skyway connected as well, allowing residents to live, work, and shop downtown without having to leave the skyway system. The 1987 album Pleased to Meet Me by The Replacements contained a song entitled Skyway. The song used the skyway as a metaphor for unrequited love.
Such a good song. Cool. I love Minneapolis. I'm not, I've talked about it on here, I'm not a big city guy. Two big cities that I've been in that I love are Boston and Minneapolis, St. Paul. I love there. What time are we looking at? I feel like this might be a longer episode than I anticipated because we have a lot to go yet.
An hour 24.
Yeah,
That's not bad.
Well, we got a lot to go.
Okay.
And the last city that I'm going to talk about that we researched is Seattle. This was fascinating because I knew nothing about this. From Wikipedia, at approximately 2:20 p.m. on June 6, 1889, an accidentally overturned glue pot in a carpentry shop started the most destructive fire in the history of Seattle, Washington. After this Great Seattle Fire, new construction was required to be of masonry, and the town streets were regraded to be 1 or 2 stories higher. Pioneer Square had originally been built mostly on filled-in tidelands and often flooded. The new street level also kept sewers draining into Elliott Bay from backing up at high tide. At first, pedestrians had to climb ladders to go between street level and sidewalks in front of the building entrances. Brick archways were constructed next to the road surface above the submerged sidewalks. Vault lights, a form of walk-on skylight with small panes of clear glass, which later became amethyst-colored, were installed over the gap from the raised street in a building, creating the area now called the Seattle Underground. When they reconstructed their buildings, merchants and landlords knew that the ground floor would eventually be underground and the next floor up would become the new ground floor, so there is very little decoration on the doors and windows of the original ground floor, but extensive decoration on the new ground floor. That's crazy to me that they're just like, screw it, we're just gonna rebuild the city one level higher.
Yeah.
Once the new sidewalks were complete, building owners moved their businesses to the new ground floor, although merchants carried on business in the lowest floors of the buildings that survived the fire, and pedestrians continued to use the underground sidewalks lit by the vault lights, which are still seen today on some streets, embedded in the grade level sidewalk above. In 1907, the city condemned the underground for fear of bubonic plague. The basements were left to deteriorate or used as storage. Some became illegal flophouses for the homeless, gambling halls, speakeasies, and opium dens. And today you can take tours of a small portion of the underground.
What's all the opium dens?
I don't know. But I love that they're like, let's just rebuild the city one level higher. That's so now there's this whole subterranean level that was the original underground, and now there's another one.
I imagine there are people living down there.
Yeah. So now this next stuff comes from an AtlasObscura.com article called, quote, What You Told Us About Your Hometown's Hidden Tunnels.
I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I thought this was cool. So Krista's going to read 3 of these.
Milford, Connecticut. Our town was founded in 1639. One day there was a small sinkhole Sinkholes are like
Sinkholes
a fear
creep
of
you out?
mine.
Seriously?
They really creep me out. Yeah. You hear about people disappearing and never being found again.
Yeah.
That would be horrifying. In a small sinkhole that developed in the sidewalk in front of my aunt's house. Her house was about a quarter mile from the harbor. The city engineers investigated and found that it was part of a tunnel system that were escape tunnels leading to a small hidden beach by the harbor. I was pretty young at the time, so I don't remember exactly, but they were either from the Revolutionary War or the Civil War. This one's from Clare, Michigan. Not my hometown, but the nearest city to where my parents retired in lower central Michigan. The legendary Purple Gang of Jailhouse Rock fame would hole up in the only hotel in town, the Doherty. They installed a tunnel between the hotel and the pharmacy across the street. The upper floor of the pharmacy was a speakeasy and brothel. Part of the tunnel was uncovered during recent road repairs, so it was definitely real.
I remember, I don't know if it was just discovered, but I might have even talked about this on it, between a church in Manitowoc and kitty corner from it, there's a bar, and they found that there was a tunnel that connected the church to the bar, like from the room where, for weddings, the groomsmen got ready. So it's like the groomsmen could use the tunnel to go kitty corner under the road to the bar.
Okay.
You know, so I thought that was really interesting.
Outside. Yeah. Ottumwa. Ottumwa, thank you.
That's where Radar was from on MASH.
Oh,
It's from Ottumwa, Iowa.
That's why you know how to pronounce that.
Yep.
Although you look at it, and now that you say that makes sense. Al Capone once had a hideaway mansion here and had a network of tunnels to avoid authorities. One series connected to an earlier network built in our downtown, and the other was a main line that ended at a garage-sized terminal in a cemetery for Capone's getaway car. That tunnel also connected to his mansion, which was only a block or so
hear
away.
a lot about Al Capone having tunnels like everywhere in Wisconsin too, because he Okay, so here are some from the same article. Minneapolis, Minnesota. There is an old Masonic temple, currently a school for hairstylists, that the Grateful Dead once played. That's weird. That's like a weird.
Wow.
There's an old Masonic temple, which is currently a school for hairstylists, that the Grateful Dead once played, that has a tunnel running from the basement to an adjacent building that is now a piercing studio. No one really knows why the tunnel is there or what it was used for. Great, from Grand Island, Nebraska. I purchased the historic 7-story Masonic, a lot of Masonic temples, Masonic temple built in 1925 in Grand Island. A magnificent building, it had secret rooms befitting a Masonic building. As a group of urban explorers from Chicago visited me, we searched the basement and found a strange cinder block wall that just didn't seem right. After some liquid courage, the men and one woman took turns with a sledgehammer knocking a hole into the wall. We found the beginnings of an old steam tunnel. As many cities in the Midwest, the city produced electricity and as a byproduct sold steam to downtown buildings. That's interesting. I didn't know that they sold steam, that's what steam tunnels were for. There was lots of sand, but we burrowed through it to find about 3 blocks worth. Armed with flashlights, we found tunnels tall enough to comfortably walk through 2 by 2. Dark, smelly, and dangerous because we felt not enough cold air could get to us, or enough air could get to us. We were cautious. The steam pipes had been removed. We were convinced the tunnel had not been used since the 1940s, and our guess was confirmed quietly by city officials and told to seal the entrance, so I resealed the entrance the following week. I think it's interesting that they found these tunnels that people probably haven't been in for decades.
Yeah, for sure.
And then they went in them, but I'd also be like, what am I inhaling down here?
Right.
And Urbana, Illinois. There are steam tunnels under the University of Illinois campus that connect many of the buildings that were once used for heating. These tunnels still exist, and students have been known to explore them after hours. There are vents along the tunnels that provide access on the quad. I think a lot, like Madison has
I'm sure.
Like every big college campus has.
Well, Madison just is our capital, too. Yeah. There's got to be tunnels.
There's steam tunnels. I know there's steam tunnels under Madison, but it's like all these big colleges.
That's a major campus.
Have, where there's just so many of them, and sometimes people go missing.
Sure.
Yeah. No, you're Krista reads through. I was speaking of going, like I was actually going to say this.
I wanted to interject really quickly before I forget, so I don't forget. We have a new strangeling.
Ooh. Oh, yes.
Danielle Jacobs and Cody, who is also a listener, welcomed Adelaide Kirsten Stephanie Jacobs.
Yay, congratulations.
On the 8th, so congratulations.
New baby strangeling.
East Lansing, Michigan. There is a network of steam tunnels beneath Michigan State University that has allegedly hosted cults, bodies, and Dungeons and Dragons games. What do you think hosting bodies consists of?
I think somebody died
that
there.
mean?
I don't know.
They're hosting the bodies, though.
Well, they are. Oh boy. Yeah, sorry about the next one. I was going to delete this actually.
Oh, right. I was reading it. I'm like, thanks, Kurt.
Do we want to talk about that? Let me do it because I can
bleep it out.
Not bleep it out, but cover
stuff.
it. I can cover it a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
This one's from Ellensburg, Washington. Between 1999 and 2000, the campus of Central Washington University was plagued by a self-pleasuring mystery man who would appear out of nowhere, do his thing in view of some unfortunate female victim, and then disappear before he could be caught. This went on for months, causing the campus and city police considerable embarrassment due to their inability to get a handle on the increasingly brazen criminal. The small town became obsessed with the rumors about who the perpetrator was and why the incompetent police couldn't pin him down. Some began speculating that maybe the villain himself was a police officer. Eventually, the campus self-pleasurer got too cocky and was apprehended when he tried a mid-afternoon attack.
Got too cocky.
Upon searching the house he was renting, the police discovered a key to the campus's subterranean system of heating tunnels that could be accessed from many of the university buildings, leading investigators to believe that this was the reason why he would be able to do his thing and then disappear so quick is because he had access to those tunnels.
Oh, funny.
So, yeah. I don't even know what to say about that.
Yeah. Moving right along to Everett, Washington. When I was going to Sequoia High School, the former principal once told me about a tunnel that supposedly exists under the school. The buildings that are now the high school and the gym were built during the Franklin D. Roosevelt New Deal era. She told me that it was constructed as an underground means of escape from one building to the other in the event of an emergency. Apparently, it was also used as part of an initiation for the new principals who were made to run through the pitch black tunnel before assuming their post. That just sounds made up.
That's cool. I don't know, but that's cool. I think that's cool. Oh, and just heads up, we know we're a paranormal podcast, so there is ghost stuff coming up towards the end. We had to throw a lot of ghost stuff in there towards the end. So here are some more from that article. Cape Cod, Massachusetts. There are two bridges to get onto the Cape, the Sagamore Bridge and the Bourne Bridge. Locals and tourists alike know that bridge traffic during the summer months is no fun thing. But locals know about the super secret, but not really so secret anymore because it's on bumper stickers all over the place, Cape Cod Tunnel, the hidden route to get on and off the Cape without all the traffic. Is it real? Is it fake? I'm a local, so I'm staying mum. From Toronto, Ontario. There's an old story that there are tunnels under the Cabbagetown, Corktown areas of Toronto. A guy claims that he wandered into a cave-like hole and was greeted by a furry animal with glowing eyes and sharp teeth. It hissed at him, "Go away," repeatedly. Ew.
Yeah.
Salt Lake City, Utah. Underneath the LDS temple in the middle of downtown Salt Lake City, there are tunnels that spread out in all directions. More than likely, the tunnels were built to help employees of the church to walk back and forth between the temple and their offices. Also underneath Temple Square, which is basically just a block of church buildings, there are tunnels connecting them. The ones that have been seen, people have described them as being comfortable, carpeted, well-lit, and boring. There's also supposedly a tunnel between the city council building and the city library where the jail used to be to transport prisoners between them. Rumor has it that Ted Bundy was the last prisoner to walk through the tunnel. Now, Krista reads.
Faribault, Minnesota. Did I say that right?
I think
Faribault. So. Before Prohibition, the beer brewed in my hometown was stored in limestone caves tunneled into the side of a dry river bluff. Once Prohibition hit, that changed, and the caves were used to age various cheese. Are you sure this isn't a Wisconsin thing?
Minnesota, we're not the ones. We don't have the corner of the cheese market. Minnesota's got.
I feel like we do actually.
No.
I feel like we make more cheese than anyone else does, but they're probably a close second. Which the town
I think California makes a ton of cheese.
I think so too. They're always talking about their happy cows. Whatever. Our cows are happy. You don't know.
Our cows are happy. They like being cold.
Yeah.
And frozen.
Do they?
Probably
and the
not.
caves were used to age various cheese, which the town became somewhat known for. While relatively innocuous, there was a dark side to this. You see, the caves ran deep under the east side of town, even under Shattuck St. Mary's Preparatory School, and the old mental hospital by the river. Oh, the old mental hospital by the river.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite old-time songs,
Yep.
The Old Mental Hospital Down by the River.
At least it's not a van. I heard 2 stories about this growing up. One, that 2 kids from Shattuck in the 1950s found the tunnel entrance under the school and went exploring. They disappeared, but the school closed off that branch of the tunnels and covered it up like it never happened. The other, slightly more sinister, is this. In the 1980s, the Faribault State Mental Institution was shut down, ostensibly due to lack of funding during the Reagan administration. But the real reason is that the director was a monster, responsible for the drug overdoses of several young teenage boys who he had groomed while they were hospitalized, and for the pregnancies of several hospitalized young women whose babies disappeared. Wow.
That sounds very urban legendy.
Yeah, it kind of does. I hope it is an urban legend.
Yeah.
Once his crimes were made known, he took his own life before he could face justice. I was always told that those loyal to him buried his victims in a secret tunnel near the hospital, said to be a forgotten branch of the Cheese Caves.
So that's the Cheese Caves.
The Cheese Caves.
There you go.
Krista continues.
Krista continues.
So there's a lot of stuff underground, but it's not just tunnels and walkways. There's some huge stuff.
There is some huge stuff underground, which is pretty crazy.
Montreal. Montreal's underground city, or Réseau.
Réseau, I think it's pronounced.
I think so. Is an impressive subterranean pedestrian network that spans 20 miles of tunnels. The network is largely climate controlled, making it a perfect escape from Montreal's harsh weather conditions, especially during winter. You can find over 1,600 shops and facilities within the city, and it connects 3 major shopping malls, hotels, offices, and more. It's also a great way to get to the metro or spots like Place d'Arts and Chinatown. It's easy to get lost, so join a walking tour to help you navigate the city and discover all the cool art and architecture.
It's crazy. 1,600 shops. I've seen pictures of this, and it's like a
and they're
huge
underground?
mall. Yeah, and it's like a huge mall, like underground. So this next
That'd be
one,
kind of scary to me unless there were a lot of exit points.
yeah.
Like if something
But
went
if it
down and
depends,
you're
you might
down
not
there,
even know that you're.
But what if something
I don't know.
happened down there? How do you get out?
I don't know.
That's what I want to know.
This next one is fascinating. I've known about this for a while, and I wanted to fit it into some episodes, so now I'm finally putting it in. It is the Abo Elementary School. The Abo Elementary School in Artesia, New Mexico, United States, was the first public school in the United States constructed entirely underground and equipped to function as an advanced fallout shelter. Designed at the height of the Cold War and completed in 1962, the school has a concrete slab roof which doubles as the school's playground. That's so crazy. The entire school is underground.
Okay.
And you come up to the cement
I
roof.
guess they're safe from tornadoes.
Yeah. It contained a large storage facility with room for emergency rations and supplies for up to 2,160 people in the event of nuclear warfare or other catastrophe. Abo contains multiple drinking water wells, a cafeteria, food storage, bedding and supplies for over 2,000 people, air filtration systems, and an emergency power generation system, decontamination systems, carpet, and a morgue. So that's
Carpet.
yeah.
Also carpet.
Carpet and a morgue. So it's nice having a morgue in your elementary school,
it's the
I guess.
carpeting that does it for me.
It is. Yeah, I don't know why they had to throw carpet in there. Educators, school administrators, and government officials soon realized that such measures would be inadequate, especially if the school received a direct hit from an atomic blast or was within the immediate blast radius of the weapon. Other departments of education and administrators rejected such plans because of their concern for the psychological well-being of their students, who they believed would, quote, be constantly reminded of the possibility of a nuclear war if kept in such a school for extended periods of time. And I get that. Like,
Yeah.
if you're an elementary school student and you're going underground to school every day because you're afraid of a nuclear war,
And you're
that's
there
gonna
all day.
that's gonna affect,
Yeah.
you only come out to the cement roof as the playground.
Yeah.
That's just crazy. Federal studies concluded that the students suffered no long-term effects from their time in Abo, and many students who suffered from chronic allergies or asthma were transferred to Abo as its advanced air filtration systems reduced the impact of dust storms and allergens. So that
Sure.
actually makes sense.
Yeah.
Indeed, these studies concluded that many students' health improved as a result of extended time in the underground school. The Abo Elementary School was shut down in 1995 as a result of increased maintenance costs, aging mechanical equipment, and difficulties associated with removing asbestos from the underground windowless structure.
Ooh.
A new school, the Yeso Elementary School, was built next door, and Abo was converted into a storage facility. It's just crazy to me. Think of an elementary school that's completely underground.
No windows.
No.
So would they have stuff on the walls to like
make it look?
Simulate?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something weird about that.
There is. This is from thedrive.com, an article titled Welcome to Subtropolis, a giant underground industrial park and road network built in an old mine. What could go wrong? In 1964, businessman Lamar Hunt decided to pull the trigger on Subtropolis, which is, you guessed it, a massive underground metropolis. Well, it's an industrial park, but who's counting? Built in a former mine site 150 feet below the surface of Kansas City, Missouri. No. I'm just saying no.
Nope.
The facility isn't just a tunnel with the occasional outcropping for offices. It's 1,100 acres, or about 1.7 square miles of room and pillar mine, meaning there's a massive grid of 16-foot high, 40-foot wide tunnels running through the entire facility, separated by 25-foot square limestone pillars. 25-foot square limestone pillars. Wow.
Yeah.
Because of this layout, there are more than 7 miles of paved roads running through the subtropolis and several miles of rail for trains as well. While parts of it make no effort to hide the mine origins, huge stone columns appear to be a common sight. The unique conditions are actually ideal for a variety of businesses. According to Bloomberg, 1,600 people worked in the subtropolis as of 2015.
I don't think I could work in a skyscraper or in this mine underground.
Yeah, I agree. Many companies choose the location due to the relatively low rent, gee, I wonder why, and the constant 68-degree climate. Brr. I would just be cold. You would love it.
I would love it. You'd be freezing all the time.
I'd have a blanket on me all day. I do at my job now.
Go to work in a Snuggie.
What's wrong?
Leg cramp.
Oh, goodness, what's happening? Oh. The Postal Service and a data storage facility count homes there, as do thousands of rolls of film kept in the underground labyrinth to
which makes good sense. Which makes complete
control,
sense.
Yeah, to prevent them from degrading. Classic pictures like The Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind are both kept in Subtropolis. That's really cool.
Uh-huh.
The National Archives and Records Association also keeps tax records and federal court documents at the facility.
So it amazes me. Like, I wanted to talk about Mount Weather. That's like, what's it called? Continuity of government? Continuity of government. Like, they have all these locations that are these huge underground complexes or inside mountains where if something happens, government will go.
Yep.
It amazes me how much stuff there is underground. Oh my God, my leg hurts. How much stuff there is underground.
You need to get up and walk around.
No, I'm okay.
Walk it off.
I'm okay.
We getting to haunted stuff now?
No. Now we're getting to conspiracy time.
Ooh, nice.
This was interesting. Okay. This website's a little out there. This is from thefreedomarticles.com, an article from 2015 called The Possible Underground Tunnel Connection to Walmart. Speculation is mounting after Walmart's shocking and abrupt decision to shut down 5 of its stores, each for 6 months, in 4 different states: California, Texas, Oklahoma, and Florida. Apparently, employees were given only 5 hours notice. They were also given 60 days severance pay. The official excuse given by Walmart is plumbing problems, which is sheer nonsense. It does not take 6 months to repair a few toilets or even to replace a sewer line.
Why at so many locations the same time?
Yeah, it is weird. I'm not saying I buy it, but it is weird. In fact, Walmart could erect an entire new store within that time frame. Giant corporations run on greed and profits. It's unthinkable to think that they would willingly forego 6 months of revenue for such a small problem.
That's true.
So what's really going on? It's not just labor activism. Is Walmart perhaps preparing for some massive event due to come? Are they connecting to the U.S. underground tunnel system? Walmart could well be gearing up to become a governmental distribution center in an emergency, created or otherwise, or in a martial law scenario. In that kind of situation, Walmart could be the hub, like Camp FEMA, where people are being sent to be forcibly vaccinated, where dissidents and activists are sent to be forcibly detained, or, I hope it would never come to this, where the public is being sent to be forcibly microchipped.
So I see where the conspiracy theories come in.
Yeah. It's also unsurprising to those who are paying attention that Walmart in this video is using local police to guard its perimeter. Further proof that Walmart is joined at the hip with the federal government, and also evidence that Walmart is hiding something pretty big. Phil Schneider, who we've mentioned in the past, was a brave whistleblower who had firsthand knowledge of America's vast underground tunnel network. He personally worked in the DUMBs, deep underground military bases. According to his account, he even had a shootout with an aggressive extraterrestrial working in one of the deep underground military bases. Due to his courage in speaking out, he was, quote, suicided. However, thanks to him and others, we know the underground tunnel network is extensive. We know it connects to the New World Order airport of Denver, Colorado, which we've talked about. Mm-hmm. And we know, thanks to some other truth tellers like Stephen Kelly, that these underground tunnels don't just connect to military bases and installations, they also connect to the rich houses of the elite. Kelly talks about the underground tunnels connecting to houses and the Getty Museum surrounding Los Angeles. Other people have captured great videos of truck drivers entering the underground tunnel network with supplies. Given that, there is ample reason to believe that Walmart could be connecting its stores to the underground tunnel network. Take a look at this map, which overlays the 5 closed Walmart stores and a rough map of what we believe is the existing underground tunnel system underneath American soil. Although it's feasible to believe that Walmart is connecting to the underground tunnel network, as other military installations, military bases, airports, and private elite houses have done, there's still a lot of mystery surrounding the event. Why now? Why so abruptly? Why couldn't they have planned this out so as not to draw so much attention? At this stage, we can only speculate. However, some activists can pierce the police guard and capture more photos, hopefully. It could indicate that a large event is coming down the pipeline. And a couple comments from people under that article. Somebody writes, quote, I can't claim to know what is going on at these Walmarts, but I do know there is something really off about this. I live about 30 minutes away from Livingston, Texas, where the closest Walmart to me is closing. When I first heard it was closing because of plumbing issues, I was mad because that meant I'd have to drive for at least an hour to the next nearest Walmart. But then I heard about these other 4 Walmarts closing for the same exact reason. So I got curious and did my research and found that something wasn't adding up. Now I heard that the closed Walmarts have been seen with completely full parking lots. I even looked at some pictures, but most of them were only shots of a section of the parking lot. Well, my mom just started a new job in Livingston, and she confirmed it with me yesterday. She said, quote, the whole lot was slam-packed with cars, and none of them were labeled plumbing trucks. She doesn't go back until Friday, but she said she would get a picture for me, so I plan on uploading it. Like I said, I don't know what's going on, but something's not right. Somebody else writes, I want to share my experience. I lived in New Mexico for several years. I lived in a little valley not far from Los Alamos and Santa Fe. Walmart was the main store in town, and it was the only one. And get this, it closed for almost 7 months. It may have even been longer. I happened to live in the neighborhood situated directly across the street from the store. All night long for several months, my husband and I heard noises that sounded like underground drilling. What's more, a few times we were kept awake by the noise, so I walked down the road to the front of our neighborhood, and this would be like 3 a.m. or so, and what did I see? I saw front-end loaders carrying shovelfuls of dirt out of the inside of the store via the garden center exit and loading dump trucks full of dirt.
What does underground drilling sound like?
I don't know.
I don't know that I'd recognize that.
I concluded that they had to be tunneling underground. The store reported that they were working on the plumbing underneath the store. I found that hard to believe, and why would they be working on it in the middle of the night anyway? Weird. It's well known tunnels exist around Los Alamos and northern New Mexico and much of Colorado, but here, how is a Walmart involved? They are somehow. Wouldn't you like to go in there and find an entrance to the tunnel and have a look-see? So then Snopes, the famous debunker,
Yep.
from an April 23, 2015 article called, quote, Walmart Closure Conspiracy Theory says, rumors began to swirl in April 2015 when several Walmart stores around the U.S. were abruptly closed due to what they claimed were, quote, plumbing problems. All of a sudden, all these Walmarts closed their doors, with Walmart corporate announcing that some of those outlets would be shuttered for 6 months or more. Several aspects of these closures struck Walmart employees and shoppers as implausible. How was it that several stores in widely dispersed areas of the U.S. with nothing in common all needed to be shut down at the same time in order to address plumbing problems?
Yeah, that's weird.
Why were all these stores closed with barely more than a few hours' notice to Walmart customers and employees? Why should rectifying plumbing issues require that these stores be closed for upwards of 6 months? Why the seeming lack of required city work permits and marked septic or plumbing trucks at the affected locations? In the absence of more satisfying explanations, skeptical onlookers developed numerous conspiracy theories about the real reasons behind the closures. The closed Walmart stores were being converted into giant entrance facilities for a network of deep underground tunnels that the U.S. military would use to link deep underground military bases and to secretly transport troops across the U.S. But why risk public exposure by building all these entrances in existing Walmart stores when the federal government owns plenty of land all over the country, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
And unless the military only intended to move troops to and from a handful of states, they would need other entrances and exits. So where were those going to be located, and how would the military have covered their construction? So I don't know. It's weird. Some of it is weird to me, but
I'm not buying the plumbing excuse, but I don't know if it's what they're getting at. I mean, who knows?
What they're getting at, I think, is that these Walmarts are, during whatever upheaval is coming, are going to be used to detain citizens.
How old is this article?
2015.
Oh.
That they're going to be used to detain like there were all these rumors that FEMA had all this stuff planned, that something was going to happen, that they were going to detain a large majority of the American population, and
tunnels
and the tunnels
at Walmarts.
And well, the tunnels would also provide for like transporting goods.
Mm-hmm.
Like if these tunnels did connect to Walmart, it would be nothing for Walmart to get a shipment and then to move them into these tunnels. But at the other hand, wouldn't these people that work at this when I go to a new place, I'm like super nosy. I'm like, what's behind this door? What's behind this door? If you were working at one of these Walmarts, wouldn't you wonder why this door was always locked? You know, like I don't see these Walmarts having a secret door to this this vast underground tunnel network. But a lot of people believe that Walmart stores are connected basically to this huge underground tunnel network as a detaining center and as a way to supply.
Okay.
So I don't know. That's what I got for that.
I don't know.
I don't know if I buy. There's a whole ton of tunnels underneath the United States, but I don't know if I buy that there's this vast network that are connected. I think there's a lot of tunnels, but I don't necessarily think they're all connected. Unless these tunnels are all on one level and this top secret tunnel network is at a way lower level. I don't know.
Well, just think of the vast amount of space between these cities too.
Yeah.
Like rural, miles and miles and miles of rural areas.
But, you know, like it's the last season of Skinwalker Ranch, which I've just become obsessed with. Somebody did this LiDAR search and they said there is a tunnel, or at least one tunnel underneath, like a military tunnel. So I do think that there's these secret tunnels, but I don't think that it's this vast network of like a conspiracy thing.
Yeah.
But now we get into the ghost stuff. Now we talk about some haunted tunnels. These come from 3 different sites. The lineup.com article, quote, the 10 scariest tunnels in the world. The wonderlist.com article, quote, 10 haunted tunnels with really creepy backstories. And the listverse.com article, quote, 10 haunted tunnels.
Do I start?
You do 2 of them.
Okay. Mine have numbers in front of them. Does that matter?
No, you can just do 5 and 4.
Hoosac Tunnel.
The Hoosac Tunnel.
Western Massachusetts. This tunnel, which cuts almost 5 miles straight through Hoosac Mountain in the Berkshires, earned the nickname the Bloody Pit when it was being dug between 1851 and 1875. That doesn't sound
I don't
good.
want to work at the Bloody Pit.
No, I don't either.
Sounds like a good name for a restaurant, maybe.
Or a metal band.
Or a metal band, or a restaurant.
At least 100
Going down to grab a burger at the Bloody Pit.
The Bloody Pit. At least where all the burgers are rare. At least 195 workers died from from explosions, fires, and drownings. The crude tools they had to conquer the stone of the mountain were nitroglycerin, black powder, pickaxes, and brute strength. At least one of the deaths in the tunnel may have been a murder. In 1865, 3 explosives engineers, known as Brinkman, Nash, and Kelly, were working in the tunnel. Kelly set off one charge too early, burying his colleagues.
Whoops.
Ugh. Kelly disappeared not long afterwards and was found strangled to death in the tunnel. The murder was never solved. That came out funny. He may have been friends of Brinkman and Nash. Oh, it may have been friends of Brinkman and Nash seeking vengeance, but many workers believed it was the spirits of the dead men that had done it. Well, come on, guys. Workers reported hearing moans of pain and were too scared to enter the tunnel at night. A lot of mines and places like that are supposed to be haunted, but you think of the sheer amount of tragic deaths that have happened in those locations.
And they don't know if the story about these 3 guys is true.
Right. Is that an urban legend?
That the one guy accidentally killed his 2 friends, and then he was found strangled, and they don't know if it was friends of the friends that he killed or if it was spirits.
The worst of the many accidents during construction occurred October 17th, 1867. Fumes leaking from a gas light met a candle and caused an explosion, sending a wave of flame and debris down the main shaft.
Scary.
That sounds horrifying. 13 people died, and when a worker was lowered to investigate, he emerged sputtering and saying, "No hope, no hope." The shaft flooded, and the bodies floated to the top.
Yikes.
After the 1867 disaster, people reported seeing apparitions of miners on the mountainside. A local hunter named Frank Webster disappeared near Hoosac Mountain. Is it Hoosac or Hosac?
I think it's Hoosac.
Hoosac. 3 days later, an emergency search party found him stumbling on the banks of the Deerfield River. He was in a state of shock, and after the shock wore off, he said that he had been brought into the tunnel by distant voices. Once inside, he was greeted by unearthly and undead figures wandering the tunnels. Not all reports of the ghosts are bad. Joe Impoko worked in the tunnel in the 1970s and claimed that disembodied voices twice warned him of dangers and saved him from being flattened by a train.
That's nice.
That is nice. Number 4, Churchill Tunnel, Richmond, Virginia. The Churchill Tunnel is now a tomb, but its claim to fame is not ghosts, it's a vampire. 2 men are buried inside the tunnel along with an entire steam locomotive. The tunnel was built in 1875, but was already obsolete by 1902 when it was abandoned. In 1925, the city made an ill-fated attempt to reclaim the tunnel. It collapsed, killing 2 workers and burying the work train they had crawled under. One man did
That's just such a frightening
I know.
feel.
I just can't even imagine.
Like the idea of it's collapsing, so you crawl under this train, but now you're trapped.
You're buried under the
buried
train.
alive.
Just the claustrophobia.
Yeah.
Ugh. One man did escape the collapse, and so did the Richmond vampire. According to the legend, the workers had awakened an ancient vampire who lived in the tunnel. As revenge, he brought it down on top of them. Wouldn't you think he'd be happy he got woken up?
Yeah, or he could just bite them. I don't know why he had to bring the tunnel down.
Maybe he was just super cranky. Rescuers reportedly discovered the creature with jagged teeth and covered with blood crouching over one of its victims. The creature fled, according to legend, and now resides in a mausoleum in Richmond's Hollywood Cemetery.
They know its address. They know its address, apparently. So
they must have caught it and put it in a mausoleum.
I don't know.
This totally sounds made up. Several attempts were made over the years to recover the 2 bodies in the tunnel and bring out the old steam locomotive, but each attempt led to more collapses and sinkholes. So the unlucky workers remain where they are.
There's a whole lot of nope in that.
Yeah, it's all nope.
There's a lot.
One big nope.
That is one big nope. All right, number 3, the Screaming Tunnel. You don't want to go in something called the Screaming Tunnel as it is.
Bloody Pit or the Screaming Tunnel.
The Screaming Tunnel, Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. Unknown by any other name, the Screaming Tunnel procures the number 1 spot on this list. This 125-foot tunnel was constructed to allow rainwater to drain safely from surrounding farmlands without washing out the railroad tracks. It is also a source of fear for locals as far as anyone can remember. Furthermore, the story behind it is totally appalling. However, there are 3 different clashing versions of the story. In one version, there was a farmhouse close to the southern entrance of the tunnel that caught fire. A young girl fled screaming from that house with her clothes engulfed in flames. She ran through the tunnel in search of water to put out her clothes, but she collapsed in the middle of the tunnel, perishing from her burns. Another version says a girl was set ablaze in the tunnel by her own father after he lost custody case to the girl's mother. The third, most disturbing version of the story states that the girl was assaulted by a man and her body was burned to hide the evidence. All these stories, however, are attributed to the legend that if you strike a match in the tunnel, the young girl's horrifying screams will fill the space and she will blow out the burning match. It's her screams that give the tunnel its name. People also report seeing shadowy figures lurking around the tunnel at night and hearing whispers coming from the tunnel. The tunnel's spooky atmosphere was used in the filming of the movie The Dead Zone, based on the Stephen King novel. Number 2, the Big Bull Tunnel in Virginia, USA. Constructions of tunnels is risky work. Furthermore, in the 19th century, such tasks regularly brought about incidental deaths. All things considered, Big Bull Tunnel feels particularly evil. 2 workers are known to have died in Big Bull. A man was scalped in 1901 and another fell off a train in 1904. Even before that, locals had claimed the tunnel was haunted. But its most famous story can be traced back to 1905 when an inspection was conducted by three railway officials, Mr. John Peary, Mr. R.H. Galloway, and Mr. Rube Kearns. They guided a train through the tunnel and halted it right after the caboose emerged out of the tunnel. When Mr. John Peary entered the tunnel, he heard ghostly sounds coming from the brick wall that caused him to run out of the tunnel. Then Mr. Galloway and Mr. Kearns walked back into the tunnel with him. Upon reaching the point where Mr. Peary reported hearing the sounds, the three men stopped. They then heard the sounds of groans and cries coming from the brick wall of the tunnel. Upon hearing those sounds, Mr. Galloway demanded, "What do you want?" And the three men heard a voice saying, "Remove that awful weight from my body." And then another voice added, quote, "They are drinking my blood."
Oh.
Visiting the tunnel is prohibited as it is on private property, but trains still travel through it.
And also apparently dangerous.
And maybe apparently a vampire.
Another vampire.
Yeah. Maybe it's the same one.
Me?
Yep.
Downingtown tunnels in Downingtown, Pennsylvania. The Downingtown tunnels are also called the Twin Tunnels, despite the fact that there are actually 3 tunnels. These tunnels were constructed from around 1860 to 1912 as a crossing for the railroad over the Valley Creek. It is highly recommended that the tunnel must not be visited at night, as it is one of the most haunted tunnels on Earth. How do you determine that?
I don't know.
It's a bold claim. One legend is about a woman who gave birth to an illegitimate baby. Scared of the consequences, the woman hanged herself using an electric wire in one of the tunnels while holding her baby. She died when the rope snapped her neck and her baby fell to its death on the hard surface below.
That's rough.
Some people claim to have seen the apparition of a woman swinging from her neck in the tunnels. Again, that sounds like an urban legend. The baby's cries are also heard throughout the tunnels. Another piece of folklore insists that a dark shadow man is seen walking through the tunnels, thought to be the ghost of the Irish worker who was killed during the construction. The ages of these stories makes it nearly impossible to confirm or deny the happenings, but the tragedy at these tunnels in 1995 is truly authentic. A dismembered body of a woman, her legs severed off, was found in a maroon suitcase by a fisherman.
I can't imagine finding that.
No. Guys, don't open random suitcases you find
in the woods or floating in a river or whatever.
A maroon suitcase by a fisherman just outside the second tunnel in the creek. The investigators were unable to find a match, and the woman remains unidentified to date. 6 months after the suitcase was discovered, a pair of legs was found in the Middletown Township, Pennsylvania. They were believed to be hers. What?
Yeah, because she didn't have her legs when she was in the...
But it says in the previous paragraph, her legs... Oh, it
severed
was
off.
The body of her missing her legs.
Yeah, and then they found her...
No,
they found her legs later. Yeah.
Okay, so now they found her legs in the Middletown Township of Pennsylvania. They were believed to be hers. This murder has been added to the folklore of the tunnels. Some say it is her ghost that haunts the tunnels, with reports that you can hear a woman crying, "Help me."
Yuck.
Yeah.
There you go. There's some spooky tunnel stuff.
I'll say.
Tunnels are spooky in general. You don't even need to add
you don't.
Ghost stories to them.
Just like the claustrophobia and I don't know.
So what do you think? Underground tunnels? Obviously, there's underground tunnels.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a thing.
Every city has underground tunnels.
I don't know about the conspiracy theories around it.
That they're connected.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tunnels in the country. I don't think there is a network of underground tunnels.
I feel like there's just this inherent assumption that bad things happen in tunnels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of that. When we get to the caves, there's some interesting stuff with caves. Yeah. So at some point, we'll have an episode about caves.
Okay.
But this one was all about tunnels. And there's so much underground stuff, like you said, that we don't even realize is down there.
Yeah.
And there's stuff that's down there that has been forgotten about, like that when they found those steam tunnels that probably nobody's gone in 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there's a ton of stuff, but I don't think they're interconnected. Some of the people do live down in some tunnels. Like I said, I didn't even touch New York, and there's fascinating stuff underground in New York, Los Angeles. So there is a crazy amount of tunnels in the country. You know, there's people that think that Bigfoot travels in tunnels or that the missing 411 stuff involves tunnels.
Sure.
You know, and there's
I can see that.
like we'll get into when we do caves. There's a missing 411/caves idea.
Theory.
Yeah,
okay.
but we'll get into that when we do caves.
It's weird to think we're in a basement right now. We're underground.
Yeah.
You don't think about that.
No, you don't think about that.
But we're underground right now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's windows. But
Yeah,
that's
which
crazy.
makes you feel like you're not underground.
Less underground.
But like you said,
Yeah.
that school, the Abo Elementary School underground.
Yeah.
What's that? Not having
I
windows in
can't
the
imagine.
classroom. Like, what's that like?
What would I stare at all day?
I know. So yes, there are tons of tunnels in the
Mm.
United States. I don't think they're all. I don't think there's an interconnected
Yeah.
like that.
I think that'd be hard to hide.
I
I
think
could
it
be
would be
wrong.
hard to hide. Yeah, maybe there is one, but I just don't think so. I don't think that there's tunnels connecting the Walmarts for us getting forcibly microchipped or
Yeah.
whatever that said. But you never know.
I
So if you were
guess.
going to have this underground network, you would want them to come to a place where you could get supplies.
True.
It makes sense to have Walmart.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go in any tunnels underground, really. I just
No.
don't like that idea.
Mm-mm.
So there you go. There are tunnels and a tunnel network.
I like it. It
Well,
was a
hopefully
good
it was okay.
suggestion. I think so.
Hopefully it wasn't okay.
It was okay.
I do have a song choice.
Sweet.
So there's
And I have a listener question.
there's a story behind this one.
Okay.
Seasons ago, I recommended one of my recommendations. I can't think of I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. Leo Moracoli, but he does metal covers of songs. And I stumbled across this a while ago because I'm like obsessed with the song Africa by Toto. I
Me
think it's one of the
too.
best songs ever written.
It's so good.
So I go down the rabbit hole of looking at all different versions. There's bluegrass versions. There's like techno versions. There's so many different versions. And I came across Leo's YouTube channel where he does this. And he does this amazing metal cover of Africa. And he had a female singer on there that I instantly had a crush on. And once you see her, you'd be like, yep, that's
Sounds
going to
about
be
right.
Kurt's crush.
Yep.
So I loved that video, and then I went back down recently the Africa rabbit hole and was watching YouTube videos, and I came across this one. So I was looking at the comments, and people talked about Hannah, the girl that's in the video. And people kept mentioning something called Dance Monkey. And I had no idea what the heck they were talking about when they said Dance Monkey. So then I looked on Leo's YouTube channel, and there's a song called Dance Monkey, and he does a metal version of the song. So I watched it, and I'm like in love with this Hannah girl. Her name is Hannah Bolton. She has a YouTube page where she does songs.
No relation to Michael?
No. But she does songs, and she does like, it's just her and a piano doing like an acoustic version of Oasis Wonderwall. And I'm like in love with this girl. She's British, which instantly adds like 50 crush points for me. But I watched this video for Dance Monkey, and this song has been stuck in my head since I watched it. And I went and watched the original version, which I had never heard of. And it's just weird, dancey tech. Like, I don't like the original. But my song choice for this episode is Dance Monkey, the metal cover by Leo Moracoli, featuring Hannah and Rabea.
Nice.
And some of the YouTube comments, somebody writes, quote, I love how Leo can take songs that I can't normally tolerate and 2 minutes later have me banging my head like a maniac.
Nice.
It's a gift. Somebody else writes, quote, whenever Leo, Hannah, and Rabea get together, great things happen. Somebody else writes, quote, I'm always awestruck with, oh my God, the guitar solo in the middle of this song is just freaking amazing. It's so good. So they write, I'm always awestruck with Leo and Rabea's skill on guitar, and I'm helpless against Hannah's voice and face. Somebody else writes, songs are like medieval knights. They need to be covered by metal. Somebody else writes, not only is Hannah an awesome vocalist and beautiful, she's also delightfully and adorably awkward. Somebody else writes, the fact that y'all exist is the faith I need in humanity. Thank you. Just thanks. And somebody else writes, I keep coming back to this one of your all-time greats. So it is the metal cover of Dance Monkey by Leo Moracoli featuring Rabea and Hannah.
I feel like you could call us adorably awkward.
Yeah, I'm okay being called adorably awkward. But man, like, this song is so catchy and it's so good. And the original, I don't know if I like the original, but I love this version of Dance Monkey. I was blaring it in my car on the way home from work last night, and I just love Hannah. Like, I could see dating Hannah, actually. But I think she's, that Rabea that plays guitar, I think she's either dating him or married to him. But just so good. I just love this song. So this will be, I'll post this in the group. That is my song choice for this episode. Dance Monkey.
I don't have a song
cover.
choice, but I've been listening to a lot of Primus lately.
Yeah, I hate Primus.
Oh, I love
Absolutely
Primus.
hate
Les
Primus.
Claypool's a god.
Ugh.
I also I knew about Tool. I've been familiar with their music, but I've really am just kind of discovering them now. So
Sober by Tool, I think, is one of the best songs. That's where I posted that video of the middle school kids doing a cover. What's their? It's like a school or it's like a school that if you're a gifted musician, you go there. Like it had middle schoolers doing a cover, and the girl that sings that's so good. It's I actually prefer their version of Sober to the actual Tool version.
There is a really popular video on YouTube of a live performance from the 90s of them doing that song that is just, there's a ton of reaction videos to it. It's
like
so
Sober by
good.
Tool, I think, is one of the best songs.
It's amazing.
Ever.
It's an amazing song.
And there's so
Not
many
a fan
good...
of Primus. A little too weird for you?
They're a little... I just... No. Jerry was a race car driver.
I love it.
I'm just
love it.
No Primus
so
for this
good.
guy.
Yeah, it's quirky. That's for sure. We have a question.
Okay.
Do I get to ask the
Sure.
question? So this is from Mike. I never know if they want their last name.
Hey, Mike.
So. Hey, guys. I don't remember whether you've answered this question before. I think probably not, so here it is. The question may involve a little bit of self-deprecation. Dude, that's what we do. So brace yourselves for embarrassment. From the entire Strange Sessions library, what and from which episode is your favorite comedic moment?
Comedic moment.
For me, it's the Maura Murray episode. Not that that's a funny episode, but just the whole steak burrito thing. We're never going to live it down, and I'm totally fine with that now. I wear it like a badge of honor. But to me, it's funny. It's still brought up today, and that was from like season 1, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was way
It was the
way
first
back.
thing that came to my mind.
Yeah, people always reference our horribly
Maura
botched
Murray
Maura
episode.
Sorry, episode.
Sorry, we love her story so much.
Mine, I don't remember what episode it was, and
maybe I'll think of it. What's the moment?
Somebody, I don't remember, but there was a ghost. It might have been a Strange States episode, but there was a ghost of somebody that was hung. And I don't remember how it was funny, but you just could not...
Mel's hole.
It was something about a hole.
Mel's hole.
Was it Mel's hole?
I couldn't stop laughing at the story of Mel's hole.
No, this wasn't Corey's Mel's hole story.
Okay.
But this was a story about a guy that was hung, but because he was hung, there was a hole underneath, like where it was.
I do remember
you could
that.
not stop laughing, and because you could not stop laughing. I don't remember
had
what
the
episode
giggles?
it was, but yeah, you had the giggles really bad. That was like my favorite comedic
I have
moment.
a vague memory of that story. Yeah.
Mel's hole we couldn't talk about without
Mel's
giggling.
hole. Yeah.
Yeah,
Funny.
we have there's comedic moments that I think
sure.
are so good.
Yeah.
But that's one that I remember because you just could not stop laughing, and I remember editing that episode, listening to you laughing at it. And I just
My
really liked it.
12-year-old brain
Yeah.
thought it was hilarious.
Yep. So yeah, that's a good question actually.
Yeah.
There's a lot of comedic moments in ours.
I think so.
There's some funny.
It all blurs together.
When we do
honestly.
the next episode with our investigation, one of the sound clips is going to be just like strung together things that kind of made me laugh when I was listening.
Oh, nice. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, there's one in particular that I laugh at, but it sucks because a lot of the stuff that was super funny, I can't use because it was when Barry and I were playing 90s songs in the gym trying to get reactions.
Oh.
Like Barry and I are
I don't see why you couldn't.
because YouTube will, when I try to upload it, will pick it out as copyright infringement.
A lot of people use songs, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah,
But
I guess
it was
they'll at the very least demonetize the episode.
Yeah, we have some pretty good comedic moments
We
where we
try.
get the giggles.
We try, and sometimes it's unintentional.
Yeah, a lot of times it's unintentional. The Maura Murray one was unintentional.
100%.
That's a good question. Thank you,
Yeah.
Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Is that it for this episode?
That's it.
Time are we looking at?
2 hours and 15 minutes.
That's good.
That's pretty average for us.
That is pretty average for us.
Yeah.
So hopefully this episode was okay. I always am like,
We'll see how the YouTube thing turns out. Thanks for sticking around, guys.
we'll see how the video turns out.
I
Krista
do
might have
with
to buy new cameras.
Adobe Premiere Pro, though, I love this editing software. It synchronizes everything so easily for you. And what I'm going to do is when you're talking, it's going to cut to you. When I'm talking, it's going to cut
It's
to
just
me.
going to cut to me like looking at my
That's
iPad.
okay. I'll cut back to me for reactions.
Like our next
stuff
episode
like
will be
that.
very much us talking because it'll be
Yeah.
about the investigation.
And Jim might
stuff.
join us because he was with us on the investigation.
I want to get voicemails from Barry and Rhonda and everybody that was at the investigation.
That'd be cool.
So, and Coleman, our newest group member, Coleman, who was awesome. And I think that's it. So you can email us at The Strange Sessions. I haven't checked our mails in forever. You can email us at thestrangesessions@gmail.com. When I get to our P.O. box, I'll say it. Email us at thestrangesessions.com. We are on Instagram, where we love our Instagrammers, and Krista does an amazing job at The Strange Sessions. You can send postcards and snail mail to The Strange Sessions, P.O. Box 434, Manitowoc, Wisconsin, 54221-0434. We have 2 letters from Matthew Thornton we have to open yet, and we're going to post it into our Facebook group that we're going to repurpose as our Matthew Thornton letter page. You can call our lonely phone line, which a lot of people did. I have 4 voicemails on there, 920-443-9602. And you can send listener stories, because we're going to have a listener stories episode this season. We always do, at thestrangesessions@gmail.com.
Sweet.
And I think that's it for our season premiere.
It is. I'm going to insert something special. And I'll let it play through the end of the episode, but we're going to kind of listen to it as we go out here.
Are you going to say what it is?
I will. Okay. Yep. So, Josh Arthur is a longtime listener. Also a musician.
Awesome stranger.
Yes. Longtime listener and musician. Sent us a link to a song that he recently released.
Yeah.
He said it's available. Let me look.
Spotify.
I think he said Spotify. I think he said YouTube as well. But we're going to use that as our outro music instead of the Strange Sessions music. So I think we'll say our normal goodbye, and then I'm going to start the song, and we'll just kind of listen to it as we kind of fade to black here, hopefully. So you ready to send us out? You usually do.
I think so. I feel like there was something I wanted to say at the end of the episode, but I can't think of what it was. But I think we nailed everything that we were gonna talk about. It's gonna be an experimental season, kind of, with the cameras and stuff, because we're still figuring out what we're doing. We've been figuring out what we were doing since season 1, actually.
Pretty much.
We're
a work in progress.
But I have like 20 topics already for this season, and some are going to get shuttled out and some will get shuttled in when we come up with new things. We're going to do some strange states. We're going to do listener suggestions, which is one of my favorite new things that we do. Missing 411.
Always.
You and I want to go to Whitewater and talk about Whitewater. Aaron and I want to do a road trip to a haunted location. Taylor wants to come on. Taylor and Blaine are going to come on. I think that's going to be like maybe our first, not interview, but just sit down and talk with them about investigations and stuff. I would love to get Waylon on here. Wayland.
Tobias.
That's funny. I would love to get Tobias on here. Talk about Mothman, because there's a lot of Mothman stuff. So yeah, we got the season is underway.
We have plenty for season 8, possibly more for season 9.
We got season 9. We can do up to season 10. After that, I'm not so sure, but we'll see.
You've been saying that since season 1.
By season 10, we'll know what we're doing. So thank you guys so much for listening. Seriously, thank you for always giving a crap about us and what we do. We are so happy and blessed that you guys listen to us and subscribe to us and care about us. So thank you so much.
We appreciate it.
So we're going to segue now to the side sessions. Fascinating topic on the side. I love this topic that we're talking about.
I'm excited to hear.
So thank you guys so much for listening. And from Krista and I down in the amazing,
the new and improved
amazing Strange Cellar. Until next time, stay strange. Bye.
Kurt